Alrighty, everybody. Welcome on into the Central Committee stream with your host, Mike from PA. We are back. We are live once again. It is the Central Committee stream. Today is the 1 year anniversary of the passing of David Lynch. Jesus Christ. Blue Velvet is one of my favorite movies of all time. Welcome on in, everybody. Happy Friday. You know, it's always nice to celebrate Fridays because that is a victory of the left. Every time somebody says, thank God it's TGIF, they're saying thank you to the left, whether they like it or not. I'm still struggling either way with you moving west. Oh, it doesn't matter, man. There's plenty of good people. I made sure Amy North had a better tribute to David Lynch than the fucking Oscars did. It was my first time paneling at a convention. It was great. Hell yeah. 70 streams in a row, Rhetoric. Good start. Shut up, everyone. I got my Order of Romeo badge. Hell yeah. Cack. Congratulations. Hell yeah. Streams are broken. It shows 70 for me, but I've never missed a stream. LOL. Bro, it's because that's when it started counting 70 streams ago. You're wrong. The public is behind abolishing ICE more and more every day. Oh, yeah. Guys, there was a poll that was taken a couple days ago, so it's showing 46-43. People are just starting to say fuck ICE. Okay? I mean, Cutie Cinderella posted fuck ICE. We are pushing past. You know, the billions of dollars that we are paying for ICE could just be spent to give us healthcare, education, and housing. How do we stop paying taxes? I mean, Sui Idol Icon. Here's the thing about not paying taxes. I get it. But I can't tell you to do that because it's opening you up to criminal risk, right? And that, unfortunately, can't tell you to violate the law on this stream. I mean, fortunately, excuse me, misspoke. And as Jules and I have been saying, look at the pace of change. The Republican base likes ICE. Everybody else is now being told it's okay to hate ICE, so they're going crazy. The only thing that could save ICE is Democrats. Like, that's the reality. That's the reality. That's why you're starting to see, I don't know. I think my Twitter's fucked. I might be shadow banned beyond belief. Third Way just put out a video.
Are you ready for a Vance presidency? Because that's exactly what we'll end up with if we nominate a far-left Mamdani-like candidate in 2028. The November elections proved what we've been arguing for months. The Democratic Party has to choose which project is more important, turning blue places bluer or turning red and purple places to blue. We know that focusing on
Abigail Spanberger did not perform well. Like, the funny thing is, those people did not perform well. And in fact, the New Jersey blue governor probably got a boost from their own socialists in places like Jersey City. Like, that's the reality. And Mamdani getting the national attention as the Democrat race probably helped the Democrats. That's the thing that's funny.
The ladder is the only way to defeat Trump and far-right extremism.
The only way, guys. The only way is to cave on everything. The only way to defeat them is to collaborate fully with them. So much so that people can't tell you apart, and then you win.
History has shown that a moderate approach is the way Democrats win. Hear me out.
When?
Since 1980, Democrats have only won the White House once without winning a supermajority of moderate voters nationwide. So what does that actually mean for us?
By the way, that is just complete nonsense because people identified as moderate because Democrats didn't. So basically, partisan Democrats identified as moderate who were far left on every issue. Like, that's the thing that's hilarious. And I've been talking about this for years now, and they're still spreading this lie. And they know this. They're not confused.
Mamdani won just 36% of the moderate vote. Take that. And
yes, he was running against a moderate Democrat and a Republican. He was running against another Democrat, and he got a majority while running against another former Democrat who had national name recognition and millions upon millions of dollars, and he still won a majority. It's like, I can't believe some moderate voters voted for, and now they all approve of Mamdani. I mean, he's been even more, I mean, it's been going up.
All right, first on CNN.
We showed you this a couple days ago, but it's important to show it again.
First on CNN this morning was Zohran Mamdani, less than 2 days away from leading America's largest city. CNN has learned that Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez will introduce him.
This is before he was even sworn in. So again, he's only been there since the first, so it's been 2 weeks.
Inauguration on New Year's Day.
Is Condoleezza Rice still relevant? I'm going to meet with her soon. Bro, you can't say shit like that to me. You're going to get me permit.
Ceremony will also feature another progressive leader. No big surprise here, Senator Bernie Sanders. New York and the country is about to see if Mamdani can keep his bold promises like expanding universal child care and freezing the rent.
They didn't know.
For many people. CNN's chief data analyst Harry Enton joining us.
He did
with the odds.
immediately.
How are New Yorkers feeling about Mamdani as we get very close? You know.
It's close. It's close. I'm looking at my fake watch. At least you have a real watch on there, I think.
Inauguration day.
Whatever. I just look at my cell phone. Look, if we look at how New York City folks are feeling about Zohran Mamdani, look at this. Up like a rocket, higher and higher, as Jackie Wilson.
So Zohran Mamdani's, after he won, his favorability went really high. Why? Because all the people that normally vote Democrat who voted for Cuomo started liking him. That's literally what happened. And I told you that would happen.
Singer used to say, right? Mamdani's net favorable rating in New York City in September, it was plus 14 points. Look at where we are now, plus 38 points. That's a climb. If you do the math quickly, right with me right here, Sarah Steiner, 38 minus 14, that's a rise of 24 points in the positive direction. As I said, up like a rocket. New York City voters have never felt better about the man that they elected to lead this city come 2026. He is quite the popular dude right now.
Before governance, that is often a thing, right? It's much harder once you get in there. Looking into 2026, Republicans were hoping that Mamdani would hurt Democrats statewide. What are you seeing when it comes to that?
Yeah, okay. So right now, you know, we're talking about the honeymoon period, right, for Zohran Mamdani, very much in the Jackie Gleason state of mind, and another show that was based in New York City. Net favorable rating, let's look at...
And so, like, that's just reality, folks.
Extrapolate it nationwide, and the results are bad.
Well, as long as, hey, chat, it's so funny to be like, we're just going to, we're going to assume that a left-wing candidate runs, and then there's also a third-party centrist who does as well as Cuomo. I want you to understand something, chat. If a third-party centrist tried to run, they would get 1% of the vote. Maybe 2%. Because that's approximately how many people are centrist ideologues in this country. Most people are either Democrats, Republican, or apathetic. And there's not a lot of apathetic centrists out there because they're kowtowed to by the Democratic Party. So they're not sitting there going like, oh, please give me somebody like Joe Manchin.
Bad. Compare that to moderates like Mikey Sherrill and Abigail Spanberger, who won more than 60% of the moderate vote. Just look what happens when you apply those margins of victory nation.
I mean, it's so funny because, like, imagine if a left-wing candidate had run in the general election against them, who was a former, like, statewide Democrat. They don't encounter those kind of situations. There is no like to like. Hot girls for capitalism. Where's the hot girl? Here's what I would say about Asmongold. Asmongold is a member of the Trump administration. I'll say that again. Asmongold is a member of the Trump administration. Okay, we'll definitely react to this. Anyway, long story short, they're fucking stupid and they're an embarrassment. Oh, by the way, chat, I just realized I am now in the top 200 English-speaking streamers worldwide. Wow, isn't that great? Got to get to rank 420. Oh, yeah, I'm 427 of all languages worldwide. Pretty great. Pretty cool. I guess X is fucked, huh? January has been a pretty good good month so far. We're having a pretty good month. That's how you want your chart to look, chat. What are you going to do while we watch videos? Who knows? That's actually crazy and awesome. Shows how popular left is getting for radical like you to be top 200. I mean, when you look at myself and you look at Hassan, and the best part is, Hassan and I are completely legitimate. Hassan's having a nice spike too. He's number 6. Yeah, the Dan the dipshit thinks he was successful and Hassan is over. Huh? I honestly can't even tell you where Dan Saltzman's attacks happened. When did Dan Saltzman's attacks happen? I mean, the last month number 6 largest channel. That's kind of, I mean, it's just delusional, right? Like, his follower count is going up. He crossed 3 million. He's at 447 million hours watched. Like, Hassan and I really kind of, I don't know about you guys, but Dan Saltzman and Destiny tried to go after us, and Aspen Gold tried to go after me. Did not affect me at all. Like, I you know what I mean? Like, you can literally look. Does it look like I was affected by them? Here's my following. I mean, I don't know what to say. Mike, should we respect the squirrel on Twitter or duck on them when they attack the left? Okay. Part of being okay. What makes a lot of people left wing is the fact that they have a rigid moral code. A lot of people become attracted to the left because of a moral rigidity. It's not that that's bad. That's good. It's good. I don't think that's bad. I, in many ways, have some of that moral rigidity as well. That's called being a good person, right? I have things that I won't do because evil is evil, right? However, interacting with other human beings is always especially in politics, is always a difficult balancing act between where a person currently is, where a person could be, who that person is willing to associate themselves with, what mistakes or serious disagreements we have. It is a complicated melange because politics, when it's actually interacting with real human beings, is fraught with contradiction and hypocrisy. All right? I don't say that because I'm trying to justify some bad person. I'm just saying that that's what it's like in reality. And whenever you are a prominent left winger, people see you as a beacon of morality and they become parasocial with you. And then they start to idolize you and pedestalize you, where they, go like, oh, this person is stainless. This person is perfect. This person. And then it becomes like almost idolatrous. You worship this idol of a person rather than a person that actually exists. And then it's like, okay, the person that I idealize, talk to someone that I have a disagreement with in a friendly way. They're selling out to the pedophile cabal of Zionists. And it's like, bro, calm the fuck down. What are you doing? What are you doing? It's like canceling AOC is, and I think that the genocide in Gaza, it exposed a lot of things. The first thing is there is a serious disconnect between what the online left thinks our power is and where our power actually is. That's number one. Number two, it gave us another good reveal. People are with us. The grassroots, the rank and file, regular people, far more open to the left than we thought. So it has put us in this kind of difficult position. The grassroots has been convinced, but our ability to effectuate power has not increased yet. And we're in this kind of liminal space of like, a lot of people are convinced, but we can't pull the levers of power. And that creates incredible frustration, because if we've already convinced everybody that Israel is evil, how come we can't stop giving Israel weapons? Why is Israel still bombing children on our FOP or FYP? You know what I mean? Like my ability to do shit, AOC's ability to do shit, Bernie Sanders' ability to do shit, Hassan's ability to do shit is heavily mediated by the structures of our society. And our power in the minds of people and in the hearts of people has not been translated to political power. It just hasn't yet. Now we're working on it. We're trying. AOC and Zoran are some of the people that are the bleeding edge of the knife. We probably have around 60 solid Democrats in the House of Representatives that are on our side, which is both incredibly impressive and also incredibly disheartening. So I think the problem that we ultimately have is that's the disconnect, right? Like, how do we create power from the masses? And we're trying. We're fucking trying. But it doesn't happen overnight. As much as I wish it did, it doesn't. And so what happens with that frustration is it could become unmoored. And I think with the squirrel, and I think with many people who harbor a hatred for AOC is the avatar of their own failure. AOC is the avatar of their own failure, meaning you have this young woman in Congress who got there because she agrees with us on politics, and she hasn't been able to single-handedly overturn the Democratic Party into a Democratic Socialist Party on her own. And so we blame her. We target our frustration at her because she's safe. And it means we don't have to do anything because we already elected AOC. Why do I need to do anything? Well, who's your representative in your district right now? Unless you're living in AOC's district, you've got a lot of work to do, huh? Who's your congressperson? What's their vote on Israel? How many times have you visited them? How many times have you tweeted about them? How many times have you protested them? How many times have you criticized them for not being left enough? And like, I say this not because I'm trying to provide cover for AOC. I criticize her all the time. In fact, I criticized her so hard, she got pissed at me personally. AOC was a mutual of mine for 6 fucking years, and I criticized her dumb Iron Dome vote so vociferously, she got personally angry at me. It is what it is. Mike, we have a DSA candidate running at Colorado Springs. We need all the help we can get in our caucus and assembly coming up. Good luck, my friends. We'll try to help. And the truth is, like, Bernie Sanders lost in 2020, and a lot of people have a hard time accepting that. Bernie Sanders lost in 2020. And so all of his viewpoints, all of his allies did not take over the Democratic Party because we lost. And is that frustrating? Yeah, it's frustrating. Yeah, it sucks. But a lot of people don't want to reckon with that, right? They don't want to reckon with the fact that these are the people that are in charge of the Democratic Party. Now, another set of elections is happening this year, hopefully, assuming Trump doesn't try to declare martial law or interfere with them or rig them, which he's definitely going to try to do. What are you doing to prepare us for that moment of rupture? All I know is I need to start hitting the gym more. I need to do some more cardio. I need to buy more guns. I'm going to flip a seat. Hell yes, Amos. Help chat. I'm addicted to New Vegas. It's a good game. When I played my playthrough, I did an NCR run. I tried to do the max allies with the NCR. Didn't the NCR get wiped out canonically by the TV show? Yeah, but they got wiped out by Vault Tech. The NCR got wiped out by Vault Tech. Nuking them. Spoilers, this is like, we all knew that. That was like season 1 shit. I mean, you don't get like multiple years on shows before people start mentioning spoilers. Sorry. Did you see Gavin Newsom being buddy-buddy with Ben Shapiro? Yes, it's another case of Mike was right. We should watch that. Anyway, let's get back to the news. Anyway, long story short, we're going to keep criticizing AOC. I think AOC has been improving ever since she endorsed Zoran. I think she's been getting smarter. Except for them taking their time out to condemn the people who said we did the pro-Hamas chants, which I think was completely pointless and a distraction. They should just shut the fuck up and be like, I don't need... Zoran had such a good line, which is, I don't need to be commenting on every single sign at every chant at every protest. Shut the fuck up. One power they seem to have is removing Jeffries from speaker. They are implying they will support him as speaker. If that happens, I agree with you. That's one of my strongest disagreements with them. I think that the Democratic Party needs a Tea Party that is explicitly running against the leadership we have now in the primary. All right, let's keep going. So Machado went to the White House chat, and it's funny as fuck.
I presented the President of the United States the medal of the Nobel Peace Prize. Me impresionó mucho lo claro que está, cómo conoce la situación en Venezuela.
Of the world in this hour, and I assure you that I am very hopeful. Venezuela will be free, and we will turn a country into a beacon of hope. We're going to answer questions here.
Si algún día me tocase, como presidenta encargada, ir a Washington, lo haré de pie, caminando, no arrastrada.
I presented the President of the United States the medal of the Nobel Peace Prize, and I told him this. Listen to this. 200 years ago, General Lafayette gave Simón Bolívar a medal with George Washington's face on it. Bolívar since then kept that medal for the rest of his life.
We don't know. Lafayette was a general who was actually risking his life to fight for America. Donald Trump is a fat slob who eats Oreos all day.
Yet what the president's reaction was to that gift. We do know he wanted the prize himself. We should note the Nobel Committee has made clear the Peace Prize cannot be shared or transferred after it is awarded by the Nobel Committee. The meeting comes as the White House says Trump stands by his assertion that Machado does not have the support necessary to lead Venezuela. Just yesterday, the president called Venezuela's acting president, Delcy Rodriguez, of course, Nicolas Maduro's former vice president, a terrific person following a phone call. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the current Venezuelan government has been extremely cooperative.
Secretary Rubio and the administration have been in constant communication with Ms. Rodriguez and other members of the interim government in Venezuela. They have been extremely cooperative. They have thus far met all of the demands and requests of the United States and of the president.
In Caracas, Delcy Rodriguez delivered her State of the Nation address. She urged her country to wage a diplomatic battle with the U.S., saying, quote, "If I ever have to go to Washington as acting president, I will do so standing tall, walking, and not crawling." Kristen Holmes is live at the White House. Kristen, is it clear to you what the next steps are for Venezuela? If Trump is still saying Machado doesn't have the support and that he likes Delcy Rodriguez, seems like they're happy with the status quo for now?
Well, for now, certainly. I mean, we know one of the things that President Trump and the administration was trying to focus on was stability in the administration in Venezuela. That's part of the reason that they had kind of turned their focus to Rodriguez after the capture, actually before the capture of Maduro, for this idea that, one, they could have her in place and then put the screws to her. We know that they've kept the Armada that is in the Caribbean with essentially weapons pointed at Venezuela just off the coast. We know that we've kept sanctions, or at least some of them, in place. These are all forms of negotiating tactics to put the screws to Rodriguez to get her to do what the United States wants. Now, you heard Caroline Leavitt in the briefing today. She would not give any sort of a timeline on elections or a shift to democracy in Venezuela. So it's really unclear what this looks like in terms of steps. All we really know right now is this step, or phase one, which is this kind of stability period where you see President Trump, the United States, trying to rebuild the oil infrastructure and continue to use basically the same regime. Maduro is gone, but Rodriguez is essentially a part of Maduro. She was part of his inner circle. She was his vice president. But to put an enormous amount of pressure on, and Rodriguez seems to be playing ball with the White House in a way that Maduro was not willing to. So right now, it does seem as though they are happy with the status quo.
It's quite a change, given most of the government remains from the Maduro regime. Kristen Holmes, thanks so much. Richard Haas is...
So basically they kidnapped Maduro and they're like, we did it. We did regime change. And it's like, everybody else still has their job.
Is President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations. He's also the author of the Substack newsletter, Home and Away. Richard, good to have you.
Good to be had.
So I first have to ask you this, given your long history in diplomacy. Is there any precedent or anything close to a winner of a prize, a Nobel Prize or similar, feeling pressure to give it to the U.S. president to curry favor?
I think that's a rhetorical question, Jim. I'm not familiar with anything like it. It was quite a gesture on her part. And
look at this fucking weirdo imperialist that has a map of the world with America in the middle of it and Eurasia split. That's so fucking weird. Yeah, America is the center of the world, guys. Goofy ass shit. Goofy ass shit. It's creepy.
I think it's her attempt to bring the president over, even the conversation you just had, to where he sees a meaningful role for the political opposition in Venezuela.
Is it clear to you that he sees a meaningful role? Because listening to Caroline Leavitt today from the White House podium, she repeated that Trump doesn't quite believe Machado has the support. He said that he likes Delcy Rodriguez. She's being extremely cooperative. They seem to be prioritizing stability of oil supplies getting out of there, and there's no timeline for elections. Is the status quo going to stick around for a while?
I would think so. This is
a lot of our problems stem from leftists reading dystopian sci-fi as cautionary tales, and the right reading them as playbooks. LOL. I get the joke you're putting down. I think the biggest problem that we do have to take your joke seriously and make a point off of it is that people think that their personal opinion matters that much. That is the ultimate trick of neoliberalism. It's that if you have an opinion and you express it, that results in outcomes. Like if we all just go to the Twitter machine or we go to the Twitch and we yell our opinion, that's going to result in outcomes. And I think that these people think that that's like the main thing of politics. Like, I'm doing the politics by saying my opinion. And the reality is that I'm a supporting character of the politics. I'm not doing the politics. I'm support class. And I could be the best support class, but if there's nobody, running down the middle of the field, then nothing happens. To put it into football terms, at best, I'm a quarterback, but I need the fucking O-line to crack open holes. I need running backs to plunge through the center. I need wide receivers streaking down the field. And everybody's like, who should be in those positions is just standing on the sideline with pom-poms going, yay, Mike, yay. It's like, no, motherfucker, I need you to get in the trenches. Go AOC, rah, rah, go Zoran, rah, rah. It's like, bitch, we need you in the trenches. Mike, just push the touchdown button. Why didn't Mike just score a touchdown? Why did AOC just score touchdowns? Why did AOC get sacked? Why did Bernie Sanders get stuffed? Why didn't they win? Those losers. Stop seeing yourself as an observer of politics. Stop seeing yourself as a pundit or a historian or a commentator, and see yourself as the prime mover of politics. Now, when I say yourself, I don't mean you as an individual. That's egomaniacal narcissism. I just mean as a part of a collective. And the contradiction that we have, the core contradiction of leftist politics, is that in order for collective action to occur, individuals must act. That is why our politics is hard to pull off. That's why the left is not winning all the time, because we are embodied in our politics and our praxis. There is a contradiction. I need you individuals to be convinced to move collectively. And unlike an ant or a bee, I don't have pheromones to put out that enthrall you to act. You're all making individual decisions. A lot of idea guys and the doers are downplayed, result of capitalist realism. Yes, I know. Which is why in this new year, I'm going to humble myself by becoming a doer. I'm getting my burnout as an organizer. I said to myself, I don't care anymore. I don't care if I'm burned out. I don't care if I feel uncomfortable. I have to get back into the trenches and do the grunt work myself. I need to stop waiting for invitations and start making my own. So that's what we're doing. I'll start from the bottom, just like everybody else. We're 16 days into 2026. You moved to LA and we need some help out here to stop Shapiro and Fetterman. Oh, don't worry, I will.
This administration, when you think about it, is not about promoting democracy. That's not on their bingo card. They are interested in access to oil. I also think they have a legitimate concern that if they try to interject Mrs. Machado and basically say she has to be the next leader or you need to have elections right away, that could trigger civil conflict. You have a lot of guns and a lot of small groups running around, and my guess is they'd see her as a threat. So I think the real question to me is whether the president opens up a middle ground between the status quo, working with essentially the old regime minus Maduro, and something that would try to usher in democracy quickly, and whether he's willing to open up some type of a gradual process, and we'll see.
You've written in your recent piece that the U.S. Doesn't just lack the means to run Venezuela, as the president claims to be doing right now, but also the appetite. Explain what you mean.
Well, to run a country, you've got to have a real physical presence, military presence. You got to be there politically on the ground, economically. I mean, think about it. What we did in Japan and Germany after World War II, more recently, what we tried to do in places like Iraq, Afghanistan, Panama, nation building, the idea of shepherding a country through a political transition. You don't do that from offshore. You don't do that by telephone. You've really got to be there. You've got to rebuild institutions. You've got to lead by the hour. And I just don't see this administration making that investment. A lot of its base would be violently opposed to that type of a foreign or international commitment. So again, the president wants the benefits of that kind of a policy without the costs. And it's just life doesn't work that way.
You cite, of course, previous examples of failed U.S. efforts at nation building, Afghanistan and Iraq. It seems like the administration's making the argument that they, for instance, are not making the mistake that the U.S. did in Iraq of taking apart all the institutions there, debathification, all that stuff you're very familiar with. I mean, is there any wisdom in that argument?
There is. What we did in Iraq was wrong. We disbanded the military. We disbanded all the institutions, so we had no one to work with. This administration now is going to the other extreme.
They're like, we need to invade the Saddam Hussein regime and then keep them in power. You see, I thought you were trying to remove the regime because they were anti-democratic, but now we need to keep the regime because they're legitimate. Surely if a regime is illegitimate, there is an opposition ready to spring into action, just like in Iraq, right? Like the contradictions of these people's like worldviews are so funny.
Rather than nation building, this is just a simple leadership change.
Yeah.
And what they're hoping is this is enough. But as you heard say from the leaders of some of the oil companies, Jim, this is not a recipe for long-term stability.
God, dude, this is our fucking leaders and the foreign policy apparatus. No wonder we're getting smoked by China. All right, chat. Speaking of smoked by China, this is what $37,000 gets you in China.
This is what $37,000 gets you in China, and I promise you are not ready. Let's start inside. You get a moonroof, speakers in your headrest, heated, ventilated, and massaging seats with a leg rest. I have ambient lighting down here, a 50-watt air-cooled wireless charging pad, and this giant display that's not only fast, but it cleanly integrates the passenger side and the driver's side. But my favorite part is if I push this, I can always keep an eye on my kids. And let's just appreciate how insane this screen quality is. But there's more. I get a heated steering wheel, this clean driving display, a head-up display, and in order to use the self-driving on this car, you have to take 1, 2, 3, 4 lessons. I don't even need to park my own car. It even has a nap mode. Where am I? But you can't forget about the back. You get a giant moonroof, a giant screen, a built-in table, and a cooler that can keep things cold or hot. But watch this. Tell me this isn't cool. My seats are also heated, ventilated, and massaging just like the front. In the third row, I have just okay space. I also get a cup holder, phone charger, heated seats, and I can recline.
Dude, an adult man being able to fit in the third row is a lot of space. Wow, that's a lot of reclining.
Oh my gosh, I can recline a lot. When you're not in ultra recline mode, you actually get a really good amount of space. It also makes 870 horsepower and gets 932 miles of range. This is what $37,000.
Canada agrees to cut tariff on Chinese EVs in return for lower tariffs on Canadian farm products. The Canadians are going to have the right to purchase those vehicles soon. God damn it! Mark's Carney, god damn it!
Together, we can build on the best of what this relationship has been in the past to create a new one, adapted to new global realities. Deliver stability, security, and prosperity on both sides.
Breaking with the United States, Canada has agreed to cut 100% tariff on Chinese electric vehicles in return for lower tariffs on Canadian farm products, Prime Minister Mark Carney said Friday. Carney made the announcement over 2 days of meetings with Chinese leaders. He said there would be an initial annual cap of 49,000 vehicles on Chinese EV exports to Canada, growing to about 70,000 over 5 years. How do I get them? How do I get one? How do I get one? How do I get it? How do I go up to Canada and get one of your vehicles? I'm reserving one of yours immediately. China! China will reduce its total tariff on canola seeds, a major Canadian export, from 84% to 15%, he told reporters. Our relationship has progressed in recent months with China. It's more predictable, and you will see results coming from that. How do I get it? How do I get it? What's stopping anyone from going to Canada, buying a BYD and driving it back? I think that you would have to, when you try to register the car, they're going to try to make you pay duties, is the answer to that. I think if you have a new car, a car that's less than a year old, it's hard to register, especially in the US, without having made sure to have paid like taxes on it. You could probably register it in Canada and you could have a Canadian plate, but you might not have insurance coverage. There's all sorts of weird shit. Carney hasn't been able to reach a deal with the U.S. President Donald Trump to reduce some tariffs that are punishing some key sectors of the Canadian economy, and Trump has previously talked about making Canada the 51st state. Chat, I think that we are seeing something that I have been trying to achieve for 7 years, and I thought it was impossible when I started. When I named my channel Central Committee, and I was like, the progress that China is making right now is so incredible, and I wish people could understand it. And I could see that back in 2019. But it seems like with the last couple of years, people are starting to wake up and go, wait, actually, China's actually not bad. kind of a cool place. They're delivering improvements for their quality of life. Their economy is growing. It's really impressive what they've managed to do. People are starting to wake up that maybe things aren't so bad. China isn't some evil country that needs to be our enemy. And to see Canada turning away from the United States and at least becoming more neutral toward China, this is beyond belief. I can't believe it. Now, obviously, China has one problem, and that is they don't understand the neoliberal brain. They think if we don't invade other countries, if we just focus on building ourselves up and we offer amazing trades and deals with other countries, then they will treat us fairly and it'll be a win-win. This is the problem that they have. That makes sense if you're rational, if you care about your country's well-being. Our leaders don't, and they aren't. So if China comes to us and says, here's an amazing fair deal, and you'll get extremely high quality products at low prices, and you'll have access to the Chinese market to sell your goods, and we will give you loans to develop your country at very low interest rates, and we'll charge you very low prices on solar panels or wind farms or battery farms. Our leaders will be like, well, that'll undermine capitalism. No, thank you. We'd rather die of climate change. And so our mission as Westerners has to be, we need to create a class of politicians that actually care about us and care about our quality of life. And if they do, they will see that treating China like a friend is far preferable to having another Cold War for no reason, or God forbid, a war with China for no fucking reason. It will undermine the Western way of life. What are you talking about? My entire life, the Western way of life has been propped up by cheap Chinese products. My entire adult life has been propped up by cheap Chinese products, keeping cost of living low. What the fuck are you talking about? And now China is starting to produce more difficult, advanced manufacturing products, and they're driving down the prices there too. Why can I not buy an extremely luxury SUV for $37 that if I tried to buy from Jeep would be $100,000? Let me buy the $37,000 SUV. I mean, our boomer parents got to buy cheap cars from Japan. Our boomer parents bought a shit ton of cheap cars and trucks from Japan. Well, now those Japanese products aren't cheap and they kind of suck. $37,000 SUV, not $37. Earlier Friday, Carney and Chinese leader Xi Jinping pledged to improve relations between their two nations after years of acrimony. Xi told Carney in a meeting at the Great Hall of the People that he's willing to continue working to improve ties, noting that talks have been underway on restoring and restarting cooperation since the two held an initial meeting in October on the sidelines of a regional economic conference in South Korea. Carney, the first Canadian prime minister to visit Canada in 8 years, told Xi that better relations would improve a global governance system that he described as under great strain. And this is the other alternative, chat. If the Western world at least breaks away from the United States and becomes neutral toward the United States and moves in favor of what? A neutral international system. I'm not saying that we should be dominated by China, but if China is willing to undergird a neutral, fair international system that they also subject themselves to, that would be a far better improvement than the world of American hegemony and Pax Americana, because we never had the Pax. It was always been war after war, intervention after intervention, genocide after genocide, atrocity after atrocity. And if China started suddenly attacking countries to steal their resources, well, then I would turn against China. China was doing a bunch of direct militarist imperialism like the United States has done my entire life, then I would condemn them. But they haven't. What they've done is they have built wind farms and high-speed rail around the world, including some of the first high-speed rail in Africa. Okay, this audio is terrible. The first track installation of Algeria's Western Mining Railway, Africa's first heavy haul desert railway. This is the 575-kilometer railway is the largest single infrastructure project undertaken by a Chinese company in Algeria. This is what China is doing for Africa. It was jointly built by China Railway Construction Corporation and Algerian state-owned enterprises. So in other words, state socialism, not free market capitalism. After more than 24 months of work, construction teams completed track laying 3 months ahead of schedule. Wait, more than 500 years of colonialism and Western help, and we've never built like something like that for African nations? We have built very little infrastructure in Africa. The imperialists built almost no infrastructure. Primarily what they would do is build one rail line from the resource node to a port. And that would be the only rail line they would build. There were not like interconnections between African countries. There is not a transcontinental railroad of Africa. There is so much low-hanging fruit in Africa for infrastructure development, and that's what China's doing. And that's why America's furious about the Belt and Road Initiative, because you're not supposed to help Africa become rich. You're supposed to keep the poor so we could bribe some of their elite and steal all their resources for pennies on the dollar. That's why when I Show Speed went to Botswana, he wasn't allowed to buy a raw diamond because all the diamonds go to two buyers, mostly in Israel. Israel's top export is diamonds, and there are 0 diamond mines in Israel.
What we do.
Okay, what if I want to buy these? I want to buy one of these diamonds.
Buy one of these diamonds.
Yeah, who do I talk to?
You'd have to talk to
De Beers.
But I can't be a customer. This is my first time in Botswana.
We can make arrangements.
Yeah, I know, but what if I want to buy a rough diamond?
And then maybe you can talk.
Is that part of your contract? Y'all can only sell to those 2 customers.
That's part of. These are all so we're selling the natural diamond. These are from the ground, no synthetic, no diamond.
And that's why Africa remains poor, because we monopolize and cartelize. This is actually called a monopsony when you only have 1 or 2 buyers. It's called a monopsony. When you have 1 or 2 sellers, that's called a monopoly. Mono meaning 1.
But that expropriation of the third world has been going on for 400 years, brings us to another revelation, namely that the third world is not poor. You don't go to poor countries to make money. There are very few poor countries in this world. Most countries are rich. The Philippines are rich. Brazil is rich. Mexico is rich. Chile is rich. Only the people are poor. But there's billions to be made there, to be carved out and to be taken. There's been billions for 400 years. The capitalist European and North American powers have carved out and taken the timber, the flax, the hemp, the cocoa, the rum, the tin, the copper, the iron, the rubber, the bauxite, the slaves, and the cheap labor. They have taken out of these countries. These countries are not underdeveloped, they're overexploited.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly why there's been such a freak out over China doing trade with Africa and development with Africa. Because African electrical grids are being fixed by Chinese solar panels. And African infrastructure is being built by Chinese state-owned corporations in partnership with local African state-owned enterprise. They're giving them loans with low interest rates. And when African countries fall behind on those loans, if they don't pan out, China is forgiving billions of loans as a gesture of faith and friendship, forcing them to get rid of subsidies for poor women and children. And so when Canada goes to China, they know that the Chinese are going to treat them with respect and friendship and give them a good deal. The only reason they haven't done it is because Canada was dominated by America. And Donald Trump is finally waking up enough people that they realize if he's even willing to attack Denmark, if he's willing to threaten Mexico, if he's willing to threaten Canada, maybe the time of American unipolar dominance should end, just so that we have a counterbalance, so that everybody can be treated fairly. Later, he said at the news conference that the system may give way, at least in part, to country-to-country or regional agreements rather than the global ones that have underpinned economic growth in the post-World War II era. The question is, what gets built in that place? How much of a patchwork is it, he said. The new reality reflects in large part the so-called America First approach of Trump. The tariffs he has imposed have hit both Canadian and Chinese economies. Carney, who has met with several leading Chinese companies in Beijing, said ahead of his trip that his government is focused on building an economy less reliant on the U.S. at what he called a time of great global trade disruption. A Canadian business owner in China called Carney's visit game-changing, saying it reestablishes dialogue, respect, and a framework between the two nations. These 3 things we didn't have, said Jacob Cook, the CEO of WPIC Marketing and Technologies, which helps exporters navigate the Chinese market. The parties were not talking for years. Canada had been aligned with the U.S. on tariffs. Canada had followed the U.S. in putting tariffs of 100% on EVs from China and 25% on steel and aluminum under former President Justin Trudeau, Carney's predecessor. So in other words, if China developed a really nice luxury EV, you had to pay double the price. But if you wanted to buy a gas guzzler from Ford, no tariff. Manufactured in Mexico with people that were not in unions. China responded by imposing duties of 100% on Canadian canola oil and meal and 25% on pork and seafood. He added a 75.8% tariff on canola seeds last August. Collectively, the import taxes effectively closed the Chinese market to Canadian canola, an industry group has said. Overall, China's imports from Canada fell 10% last year to 41.7 billion. Carney tried to address the concerns of Canadian automakers and auto workers by saying the initial cap on Chinese EV exports was 3% of the 1.8 million vehicles sold in Canada annually, and that in exchange, China is expected to begin investing in Canadian auto industry within 3 years. We're building a new part of our car industry, building cars of the future in partnership, bringing affordable autos for Canadians at a time when affordability is a top of mind, and doing it at a scale that allows for a smooth transition to the sector, he said. In other words, Chinese companies want to invest hiring Canadians to build EVs in Canada. But America's going to say, no, we're not going to do that. And here's the conservative Canadians, bootlickers of America. Make no mistake, China now has a foothold in the Canadian market and will use it to their advantage at the expense of Canadian workers. The federal government is inviting a flood of cheap, made-in-China electric vehicles without any guarantee of equal or immediate investment in China's economy, auto sector, or supply chain. Worse, by lowering tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles, this lopsided deal risks closing the door of Canadian automakers to the American market, our largest export destination, which would hurt our economy and lead to job losses. In other words, Doug Ford and the Canadian Conservatives want to bend the knee to Trump's threats because Doug Ford thinks of himself as the Quisling of Canada. When Nazi Germany invaded Norway, there was a man. His name was Quisling, and he was the fascist collaborator, Vidkun Quisling, and he became the Norwegian leader of the occupation government of the Nazi Party. That's what Doug Ford wants to be for Canada. Doug Ford wants to serve the American conqueror like a dog. In 1933, Quisling founded the fascist National Samling, National Gathering. Although he gained some popularity after his attacks on the political left, his party failed to win any seats. On 9 April 1940, with the German invasion of Norway in progress, he attempted to seize power, the world's first radio broadcast coup d'etat, but failed since the Germans sought to convince the recognized Norwegian government to legitimize the German occupation, as had been done in Denmark. On 1 February 1942, he formed a second government approved by the Germans and served as minister president. This is what Doug Ford wants to be for Canada. For the exchange of a small piece of the Canadian market, we have a commitment. We are waiting for an investment commitment in Canada, the real leaders of the new industry, so it's an agreement that will create the future for our industry. But Ontario Premier Doug Ford said the deal is bad. China is hoping Trump's pressure tactics on allies such as Canada will drive them to pursue a foreign policy that is less aligned with the United States. The U.S. president has suggested Canada could become America's 51st state. I want you guys to know something. This is a real threat, and it could happen. If you're a Canadian, I do not want you to delude yourself into thinking this can't happen. It absolutely 100,000% can happen. You are under extreme threat. If Trump gets away with doing what he's doing in Greenland, which there's a very good chance he will, you're in trouble. And if you think it can't, you don't understand geopolitics and you don't understand reality. Canada is fully integrated into the American military, meaning you guys do not have the ability to operate independently and you cannot defend yourself. We're already inside your country. This is the biggest threat to Canadian national security since the War of 1812. And unlike 1812, America is not a newly formed country clinging to a few coastal settlements. It is a world-spanning empire with 800 military bases and $1 trillion Pentagon budget. You have a long, indefensible border. You should be concerned, really concerned. And it's not a meme. Carney, though, noted Canada's relationship with the U.S. is much more multifaceted, deeper, and broader. Canada and China have different systems and disagree on issues such as human rights, he said. What? America agrees with human rights? We're shooting people in the street. We're going door to door and asking for their papers. You agree with America on human rights? What human rights? Putting women in prison and letting them die rather than giving them an abortion? Invading countries all around the world for oil? Shooting American protesters down on the streets? Blinding young men? What? Oh, human rights. We've killed 5 million people with the war on terror. But I guess they're brown, so the Canadians don't notice it. America has more prisoners than China does, and they have 5 times our population. What the fuck are you talking about, human rights? We have slave prisons in America. We have a massive slave prison called Angola State Prison, where black people are in chains picking cotton. What the fuck are you talking about, human rights? Angola prison purposely simulating chattel slavery with inhumane farmline. They literally do. Human rights. Limiting the scope of their engagement even as they seek ways to cooperate on areas of common interest. The Canadian leader leaves China on Saturday and visits Qatar. We believe in human rights. Now on to Qatar. The gang monarchy that supports Al-Qaeda and ISIS, who has 80% of the population are basically slaves. Human rights. Before attending the annual gathering of the World Economic Forum in Switzerland next week, he will meet with business leaders and investors in Qatar to promote trade and investment, his office said. Oh my God. Good news is Canada is better than E. Bad news is the liberal delusion about the United States has got to end.
When I walked in. And, you know, one of the most frustrating things to me is that they are eating our lunch when it comes to the future, and that's because they're investing
and renewable energy
and renewable energy, like all of the important technologies of the future. So I'll tell you a story. 2 years ago, I was speaking at a conference in Kenya, and I love coffee. So whenever I go to a coffee producing nation, I go to a coffee farm. So I'm on my way to a coffee farm. I'm driving in a BYD on a Chinese paved road, driving by Chinese built row houses in which the farmers live. And I'm looking at the driver. I'm like, yo, so, and I already know the answer to this. I'm like, who built all this? He was like, China. And I was like, all right, so what do you think about the US? And he looks me in the rear view and I see his eyes and he's like, I don't think about the US. And that's the thing, is that like, we used to be the country that did those things. And like, you know, my parents immigrated to this place. They took a bet on an America where they had rights.
What a goat. All right, chat, let's move on. God. All right, chat, now we're moving on. ConnorEatsPants breaks down his attacks on JD Vance. This is just, okay, we just get to have fun here. It's Fun Friday, okay? Don't you ever say that we don't have fun here. Don't you ever say that.
Yo, what up? What up? What up? I'm here. What up? I feel God in this stream tonight.
Good morning, Connor.
I feel God in this stream tonight. Wow, you still got that cough? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a funny story, and I don't know if I should tell it, but I will, because who cares? I was gone yesterday and the day before. The day before, there wasn't really, I was just tired and busy. Yesterday,
you're my favorite blue collar tweeter.
Yeah, I was tweeting at JD Vance a lot, yeah. But behind the scenes, and I don't know if this is the source of some of my frustration, turns out my cough was so egregious the past few weeks, I'm pretty sure it like pissed off my kidney, and so I had a kidney stone. And I had to pass the kidney stone yesterday because I was coughing so much.
Cash Patel, Stephen Miller.
And so I was just like, you know, having a bad fucking time. Did you keep it? No. But I was just having a bad fucking time all day. I would pull out my phone and just be like, this motherfucker, JD just tweeted again. God damn it. It was really, like, really drumming up some hatred. So maybe shout out to my kidney. I think it actually contributed to some of the articulation I had. Palantir planted kidney stone? Dude, low key. Were the Vance tweets scheduled? No, I would just scroll and see them and just type. No, I'm glad people, you know, enjoy the tweets, man. I think it's like my only like form of activism that I can do with my platform. I play video games, man. I play video games. I hope Asmongold rates me today. He was supposed to be addressing my viewbotting allegations. He's probably just gonna call me the R slur, which, you know, okay. Not the first time. Asmongold died. Oh.
Does anybody have a clearinghouse of all of Connor's amazing replies? That would be a thread that is a bang. If you just screenshot all of ConnorEatsPants posts to JD and you put them all in one place, that would be a banger. I want to show you guys.
No word with Asmongold.
Can you talk about the Canada-China trade deal? I just made an amazing section on that exact thing. I tried to make that a YouTube video, chat. You think that'll be a good YouTube video? What do you think? Here's my 2 favorite ones from ConnorEatsPants. JD Vance made a post defending the killing of Renee Good. And ConnorEatsPants wrote, sorry, but you were the only baby ever worth choosing crack over. Every time your mom neglected you, it was justified. Sorry. Amy Adams sucked in that movie too. Sorry. Nothing you touch ever goes right. You should try some of Elon's medicine sometime. Sorry. JD Vance posted another Renee Good death justification post. And ConnorEatsPants replies, your life is an all-time justification for post-birth abortion. Thanks for the invitation to criticize you and your fellow administration of pedophile rapists. What a sorry excuse for a father, husband, vice president, human, and mammal. Suck this country's collective dick. Fuck, we love Connor, dude.
Correction.
This is my personal favorite. I tend to practice not giving money to people with six-figure bank accounts. Every single time you go into the store, you're doing that. The fuck are you talking about? Every time you buy something, what you're doing is giving rich people money. That's what buying is. Unless you're specifically going to like a farmer's market craft thing and you know you're buying handcrafted artisanal work, even then their materials they used have embodied labor from previously exploited workers. If I go to a coffee shop that's a co-op and the coffee beans are roasted by hand by the fucking baristas and the roasters in America, they probably got those as commodity beans. So I'm giving people who own those coffee plantations and they exploited the fuck out of those agricultural workers. That's how capitalism works. So if you're saying you don't like giving money to streamers, okay, whatever. What's your point? I don't charge anybody to watch the stream. You don't have to pay to watch my stream. However, I also don't run ads. So do the math. If the stream's going to continue to exist, I have to have money coming in. That's how capitalism works. Just spoke to a guy who owns a small business complaining about the fact that he pays his employees $18 to $20 an hour minimum, but the people who hire illegal aliens pay them $6.50 an hour and hurt his business. Many of the people threatening law enforcement and interfering with deportations are just mad that this system is coming to an end. Donald Trump has specifically called out red states and farmers and other people who employ agricultural illicit labor as being exempt from this enforcement. There's a reason why they're sending their ICE to Minneapolis to harass American citizens as opposed to sending them to, I don't know, Texas and Georgia and even agricultural workers throughout the South. What's his name? Who did you speak to, JD? I want to talk to him on my Fortnite Friday show. Kill yourself. Just kidding. It feels like helping a millionaire out with their mortgage while I make $70K a year with manual labor. I can't help but be cognizant of the big difference in quality of life. This stream specifically is about raising your quality of life. If you think you're going to raise your quality of life more by denying people who you consume income, as opposed to, I don't know, changing the structure of their entire economic system to where manual laborers could join unions, negotiate and bargain collectively. You see what I mean? I mean, it's just like, what are you talking about? That being said, if you can't afford to sub, you should not sub. I'm okay with that. But if you can, if you're a work from home tech bro, although they're trying to lay all of you guys off with AI, I have a heartbreaking case with a Haitian immigrant charged with a felony, and now he has a ICE detainer. I've proven that he's innocent to the DA, and they don't care. The kicker, his wife had their first child while he's been in. He will likely be deported now. Now that this case might break me. Yeah, man, that's terrible.
My roommate was in Oregon. Dude, my favorite one was the Katie Miller tweet. I mean, for those that are just watching on YouTube and don't follow on the Everything app, I can't even lie. I think the Katie one was the funniest. I'm so old, I remember liberals cheering the gruesome murder of Charlie Kirk. I love your podcast, Katie, but the more I listen to you, the less you sound capable of critical thought. I guess Stephen Miller sees more inside you than just Elon. That one didn't...
I don't think Elon was ever inside her, right? Like, Elon just sends the sperm in the mail, right? Isn't Elon's penis like destroyed from a botched penis enlargement surgery? So like he doesn't even have sex, he just sends sperm like in the mail? Allegedly, chat. I don't have any first-hand knowledge. I'm just repeating what I've heard. Rumor has it multiple. He had an implanted vibrator from what I heard. Elon Musk saw this and was like, he tried to make it real.
Where am I? Relax, Mr. Smith. You're in an alien hospital.
I mean, to you, it's an alien hospital. To me, you're just in a hospital. There's another matter we need to discuss with you.
Okay. An hour ago, Shrimply Pipples, the galaxy's most influential civil rights leader, was brought to this hospital's emergency room where he is currently fighting for his life. My God. Mr. Smith, Shrimply Pipples' life can be saved if we replace his heart with your human penis. I see. Wait, what?
It's perfect. The configuration of veins, the ratio of thickness to elasticity, the delicate asymmetry of what you call your balls. With relatively few adjustments, your genitals can be molded into a functioning heart for the most important man in the universe.
Yeah, but, I mean...
No, forget it. I told you this was a waste of time.
Have respect, Yarb. The Earthman's world is tiny and undeveloped. He knows nothing of the genocides of Chlorgon, or the tragic events of 65.3432.2314.
And even if he did, he wouldn't comprehend them. I've dwelt among the humans. Their entire culture is built around their penises. It's funny to say they're small. It's funny to say they're big. I've been at parties where humans have held bottles, pencils, thermoses in front of themselves and called out, "Hey, look at me, I'm Mr. So-and-so Dick. I've got such and such for a penis." I never saw it fail to get a laugh.
All right, that's enough. You guys are talking about my species. We understand genocide. We do it sometimes. Then you would give me a penis? So that Shrimply Pibbles might live?
Stop asking.
Yes, I will. That's right, assholes. Take my penis. Take it all! And tell Shrimply Pibbles that when the galaxy came calling, Jerry Smith from Earth didn't flinch.
Okay, so this isn't the scene I was thinking of, but later in the episode, they're about to take the penis, and then he's like, he gets cold feet, and his wife's like, "No, you can't take his penis." And then they find out that they're gonna replace it with like a mechanical 11-inch long, vibrating, super prosthetic. That's the scene I was trying to show you, but I failed to find the right scene. Anyway, because that scene is funny because Werner Herzog is in it. Based Hassan. All right, so Cutie Cinderella said "fuck ice," and Asmongold reacted to it. I gotta take a break from the Asmongold reactions chat, or I'm gonna get permabanned. I swear to God, I gotta take a break, man. All right, chat, let's all sit down together, and I'm gonna think something. And I want you guys to like turn down the music, turn down the background noise, close your eyes for the next 10 seconds. See if you can receive in your brain. I'm going to try to set out a powerful message through my mind, telepathically. Okay. To all of you, type Peepo smile in the chat if you receive it. All right. Ready? 1, 2. Okay. Did you get it? Did you get the message? Did you guys get the message? Okay, people smile. Okay, it seems like you got the message.
Things that I don't feel comfortable not saying anything about.
That's not true. You just think that there's a consensus about this, so you want to talk about it and capitalize on it by virtue signaling. No, you talk about it whenever it's convenient.
The projection of this fucking rat is insane, except he doesn't do virtue signaling. He does vice signaling. Asmongold's entire existence is telling people, basically telling teenage boys that are developmentally delayed, that they don't have to brush their teeth, they don't have to take a shower, they don't have to clean their room, they don't have to eat their vegetables, they don't have to brush their teeth, right? That's Asmongold's, and they can play video games all day long, right? That's Asmongold's entire existence, is basically telling developmentally delayed adolescent boys that they don't have to do anything. The women are actually sluts and whores, which is why they won't date them. Not because they are unfuckable losers that have not one thing about them that is attractive. So his entire job is vice signaling about how much of a piece of shit you could be and succeed in this world.
And there's not a lot of backlash for it. That's what's really going on. If you want to lead change with kindness, you should be assisting ICE, helping remove illegal alien criminals, predators, pedophiles, and rapists from the country.
Donald Trump is covering up the pedophile conspiracy right now, and you don't talk about it, Asmongold. They're not releasing the Epstein files. They're violating a law that Trump signed to release the Epstein files. They've only released 1% of the files, you fucking rat. You pedophile defender rat. How many of your friends have been accused of being sexual assaulters at this point? Where's Tectone? I thought he was going to come back. Where is he?
If you want to help them and you want to make things better, you should be trying to lobby the people that are in these states instead of using these different random leftists as shock troopers and throwing them out as cannon fodder to have them be psychotic animals and basically end up getting shot.
Psychotic animals getting shot is moving your car when ordered to and driving at 4 miles an hour. Here's what I want you to understand something, chat. Julius Streicher was an author of a Nazi newspaper called Der Stürmer. They hung him by the neck until dead. He didn't participate in the Holocaust. He didn't go and shoot any Jews. He just had a propaganda outlet. And they killed him at Nuremberg because he called for concentration camps. All right? That is the precedent. If you are a media figure and you call for concentration camps and the violation of rights, you get killed. That's the precedent that we call justice. I consider that to be a very good precedent.
If you want to help, you have to make sure that those people aren't doing that. You're not helping them by doing this.
Actually, sign up and get a free.
I want to let you guys know that this is yet another rich person in entertainment that is completely insulated from the concept.
He's richer than her? No, he's not. Asmongold's not richer than her. You have to understand, Asmongold is rich in bots, not in subscribers or ad revenue. He's not richer than Cutie. Cutie and Ludwig have more money than him because he spends a lot of money on bots every month. That's expensive. To pay for 20,000 bots, that's a lot of money. And he has 6,000 subs.
Consequences of illegal immigration or any sort of behavior that now wants to basically overrule the results of an election because it's socially convenient or socially, I guess trendy to do so.
Okay, you dumb fucking rat piece of shit. There's something called the Constitution, which is the law of the land. He is violating the Constitution. The Constitution is also the document that sets up those elections and procedures. If you violate the Constitution, then very legitimation of your rule is undermined. If you violate our natural rights, we will fight a rebellion against you. That's why this country was founded, you dumb fuck. Oh, this degen loser. And there in no way that I'm a degenerate. There is 0% way I'm a degenerate. 0%. I'm pretty much trad. In my personal life, I'm pretty much a trad. I completely embody the ideal life of the traditional man. Sorry, that just happens to be true. Mike is anti-feminist. No, I'm a feminist. I support women's equality. I can live that perfect life while at the same time not degrade women. I can live with women as an equal because I'm worthy of it. You can't live as an equal with a woman because you're not worthy of that. No woman would live as an equal with you. You can only live with women that are oppressed and in chains and pushed down. I can live with women as an equal. You're not worthy of that. Neither is Zach. And no matter how many millions of dollars he gets, he'll never have a person who loves him. And he knows that. He'll never, ever have a person who loves him. His parents are gone. So whatever chemicals in their brains would predispose them to loving him, that's long gone. Those chemicals have decomposed, literally. Yeah, it's super easy. Treating your partner as an equal, not only good, but it makes your life easier. Also, women are intelligent and thoughtful and emotionally aware. Having access to the full range of a woman's or a partner's intellect and respect enhances you as a person. Trying to dim their star, trying to relegate them to menial labor, preventing their growth, preventing their that, you are worse off. I think the thing about people like Asmongold is they're afraid of women, judging them fairly. What happened to his parents? His mother died when she was smoking while on 100% oxygen. And it caused the oxygen tank to explode and for her to be horribly burned. And then I think she went to the hospital for a couple weeks and then died at the end of that. And then his dad died relatively recently from stage 4 pancreatic cancer, right? That metastasized throughout his entire body. I think that's the right thing. That sucks. Cigarettes are very addicting. Yeah, I worry about that as well with my family members that smoke. His dad was a big Hassan fan. I think his last words were "Happy birthday, Hassan." I think his father's last words were "Happy birthday, Hassan." I can't imagine being such a loser. I would spend my days worrying about someone else. Bro, get a life. Hey, my friend. Do you see Asmongold reacting to Cutie Cinderella? You dumb roach. Asmon dad's last words. Yeah, sometimes people think I'm lying.
What did he say? Happy birthday, Hassan. Aw. Oh my God, he was a sound dandy as well. Yeah, that's sad.
What a king.
That's what's going on here. Now, does she live in a neighborhood with illegal aliens? Of course not. She probably lives.
If you live in California, I believe Cutie does live in Los Angeles area. We live many illegal immigrants are all around me. So fucking what? You know what? Actually, they're based. You know who's fucking me up nearby me? Rich white people that refuse to pay their taxes so we can fix the problems with this country. The centrist Democrats that you are aligned with, you fucking rat. The Zionists who are soaking up. Did you know the Zionists under Trump just got $3.3 billion more for Israel? That's what Asmongold supports. He's an Israeli cock puppet. They're defending the Israeli pedophiles from the Epstein files. Epstein was a spy for Israel. So Trump is covering up the cabal of pedophiles. That's what's happening because they are Israeli spies. And this cuck is talking about illegal immigrants. Bro, you are a fucking dumb rat. Shut your fucking mouth.
It's in a gated community.
So I think
it's so horrible that the election happened and people voted to elect Donald Trump to remove illegal aliens. But hey, you know, we shouldn't listen to the elections. We should listen to you. You know, like, hey, fuck democracy. It doesn't matter what people vote on. No, this is just the wrong thing to do anyway. I don't think so. This is another, as I said, it's another privileged white girl that lives in a gated community, totally insulated from the consequences of any degree of negative effect of illegal migration or any other problem that's a secondary effect of that. You never have to worry about having food stamps be delayed because of this or having food stamps be cut because there's a bunch of people that are dependent on it. You don't have any level and any understanding of this at all because you're rich. You're totally disconnected from the average person. We call it virtue signaling. It is. It's totally optics driven. It's embarrassing. And honestly, I think that it's not surprising either. Cutie Cinderella, especially after that crash out that she had with like, who was it? The KDB and Vanilla Mace. Whenever she looked bad for saying that she wasn't going to disown her father because her father disagreed because of her trans brother or something like this. Well, now she has to make up for that by doing this performative activism and pretending like this is such a horrible thing. The only level that Cutie Cinderella has of interacting with illegal aliens is probably whenever they come to clean her house. That's it. Other than that, there's no other time that Cutie Cinderella is interacting with illegal aliens other than unfairly benefiting from their labor. So big surprise, it's another privileged.
I mean, all I could say is you could use some help yourself, you fucking filth monger. Although, didn't mean for this to get clipped, was just excited to give my community stickers. I Paint Burbs is going to be selling the stickers if you're interested. However, I am buying a chunk from her in bulk in order to give them to my community for free. She is donating a portion of all the sales to help support families that are currently being torn apart. A lot of you in the comments are very confused. Hopefully this clears things up. Support artists, fuck ICE, and fuck all you shitheads in the replies being shitheads. Yeah, they don't give a fuck about the providence of money. Donald Trump is stealing money hand over fist right now. They don't give a shit about money being stolen.
White girl that's trying to talk about how important it is that we need to keep these indentured servants in the country. That's it. It's embarrassing.
I think at the end of the day, what I would say about Asmongold in general is the left actually wants people in this country to have legal status and rights. So they are not indentured servants. It's actually the right wing that wants them to have illegal status so they could be exploited, right? And Asmongold's allies are the billionaire exploiters. One of the things that's really interesting about Asmongold is that I can kind of sense his death drive. He wants to die. He wants to die. He doesn't really want society to improve. As he said before, he wants things to be in chaos, which is really just an intellectualized form of self-destructive impulse. He wants to die.
Even do that well, but I liked it. This is the first JD one that I replied to the did really. Oh wow, this one actually. Oh my god, this is almost 400K.
He's terrified of dying, but has no interest in living. I think actually, Joshua, I disagree with you. I think Asmongold wants to live. He just doesn't know how. He doesn't have the wherewithal. For you or I, let's say that you and I spent a day rotting, but then we got invited out to dinner and a friend was coming over, right? Even if we were feeling kind of like lazy that day, we'd get up, we'd straighten up the house, we'd take a shower, you know, we'd probably try to put on a decent outfit, you know, brush our teeth, and then we would go out and have some fun. Asmongold can't do that. And that makes me fucking, every time I think about Asmongold, I just die laughing that he can't do what I just said. One of my superpowers is actually empathy. I can empathize and imagine myself in other people's shoes like very thoroughly. And every time I imagine myself in Asmongold's shoes, it's so fucking funny. Like the amount, like I just imagine his like, you know, rotting teeth. They're really sensitive. You know, he can't drink he can't really drink his cold soda and have, you know, if it hits the side of his molars, you know, the amount of caries, how sensitive it is, like kind of the just background bad breath and stank. You know what I mean? The ratty clothes, the just dingy, dusty, kind of like particle-filled air he lives in, the stinky pillow he lays on, just like the stench of various food and vermin rotting. Ugh. And how he's all alone, and maybe he's sitting there on his Discord, you know, he's messaging a few people that are trying to use him for money because they want his audience. So the only people around him are these kind of like sociopathic, transactional people, and they only interact with him through Discord. And then he tries to play games and he sucks at them. He can't even play games and be excellent at video games because he can't be excellent at anything. He's just a below average person surrounded by filth, and just nothing about his life is any good. He's also like not capable of even enjoying the finer things in life. Like he's ordering Fat Burger and shit. That to him is the height of life, when his Fat Burger Uber Eats gets delivered. Holy fuck, man. God, that's awesome. And then he's just surrounded by like takeout bags full of rotting trash. Just think about it. And he's like uncomfortable in his skin. Because like if you don't shower for months at a time, you know, where your body part, where the folds of your skin, you know, like body, you know, your leg touches your groin because your legs, you know what I mean? Like the crack of your ass, like all that stuff just gets like, it gets like diaper rash. So he probably has some like gentle chapping all over his body. So just sitting in his chair is slightly uncomfortable. Think about how disgusting he is. A 40-year-old man using being bad at video games as a diss. You're such a pathetically mentally defunct chud. What are you talking about? If somebody spends all of their life at a hobby and they're bad at the hobby, that is pathetic. Like if you spend all of your time at a hobby and you're dog shit at the hobby, that's embarrassing. Also, he doesn't even know what indentured servant means. Like, that's the other thing that's so funny about him. He doesn't even know what indentured servant means. He uses it because he thinks that it says servant, but he doesn't know what an indentured servant is. An indentured servant is somebody who had a legal contract where you would pay for them to travel to this country, and they would have a legal status, but they would work for you for a set period of time to pay back the cost of their transport and food and lodging. And then after that contractually agreed upon period of years, they would become debt-free and a equal citizen. These people are not indentured servants. Indentured servants had more status than they do. You can't come to this country and work for a period of time and then get your rights. That would be an improvement over what we have now. So they're not even indentured servant. He's just saying it because it has the servant in it. He's a fucking illiterate. He's a dumb fuck. My favorite Asmongold clip is when he quits playing Dark Souls. It just like he never streamed on his account ever again because he failed at a Dark Souls boss. That is, he had anxiety about going back on his main account. That's so fucking funny, dude. Holy shit, man. Fuck, I love it.
I didn't realize.
So anyway, long story short, Asmongold hates me because I could just speak the truth about him, but he has to lie about me. And I know it, and he knows it. We both know it. Now, maybe you believe the lies he says about me, but you all know that the truths I say about him are the truth. Just a fun fact about the headbutt clip is that the content he is doing is the easiest, the mage tower as a tank. Asmon used to ninja all the loot and say it was their fault for coming on his raid. No wonder his fan base are the 5 IQ people they are.
This is double viral. This is triple plat, man.
I don't have to take his word for it. I have my eyes of my own. What lie do you believe? What truth about me does Asmongold know? Also created his accounts January 7th, brand new. All right, you're not allowed to. You can't come into my channel with alts. You have to come on your main. Hey, let's keep going.
This is triple plat.
3 years.
Holy shit.
Thank you, Bear Spirit.
Streamer I watch, still absolutely loving the
Sorry, but you were the only baby ever worth choosing crack over. Every time your mom neglected you was justified. Sorry, Amy Adams sucked in that movie too. Sorry, nothing you touch ever goes right. You should try some of Elon's medicine sometime. Sorry.
Dark Woke Uprising.
I wish I said you should try some of Elon's medicine, comma heroic dose, but I just can't believe he's saying all this. I really can't. It's really shocking. Like, this should wake people up that, like, these people are Nazis and they're trying to, like, overtake the government.
I mean, they are. And by the way, I think that the reasonable thing to do is to get into community defense organizations immediately. Not kidding.
It's fucking crazy. He cites Tim Pool, the bald ditch ship. He took $10 million from Russia just to continue being a useful idiot. The Russian money wasn't even in CSGO knives. It was in cash. Try some of Elon's nasal treat sometime. Oh, I said it there. Amy Adams fucking sucked in your movie, by the way. How does that happen? It's kind of like a repeat of the last one, but it stands, though. How do you have a movie with Amy Adams and it sucks? How does it even happen? The legacy media is complicit in violence against Iceland. This is why trust in the legacy media is at an all-time low. The only legacy you should worry about is the burden you will first force your children to carry for the rest of their lives. You and your husband are truly the saddest shit sacks, desperate to be important. Eat shit. And by the way, I'm done watching the Katie Miller podcast. Unsubscribe. That was when I really went beast mode. That was when all bets were off. Because you know I love the Katie Miller podcast. Dude, people are hating on the new Bruno. But I'm queuing it up because I liked it. I don't care what they said. People were like, oh, it's the same song he always does. Sorry he has a sound, bro. Sorry he has a sound. Like, what the fuck? If you go listen to, like, old Michael Jackson, like, he has a ton of... They're all hits, and a lot of them do sound the same. But that's fine. That's okay. It's a sound, dude. Like, what? It's so good. It's so dumb. Our World Cup team better be woke as fuck. Pronouns we've never heard of. Every hormone. Gender on a 3-dimensional axis. I got bad news about who our star player is, Connor. Nothing a little dab of estrogen won't fix. I do think we should, what's his name? Christian Pulsaic or Pulsaic? We should give him estrogen. Fuck it. Let's see what happens. Another JD just fucking miss. Is his law enforcement officer of the family? Yes. Yeah, he imported his wife from, like, the Philippines or whatever. I guess that counts.
I mean, like, listen. To be an ICE agent with a foreign wife, doesn't that make him compromised? Doesn't that give him a conflict of interest?
Seriously injured? Is he a reason to fear for his life? Yeah. Does he have every right to fear safety of doing his job? Yeah. I want to know the job because safety of communication. Attack me. This was great. I appreciated this. He said, attack me. Leave our law enforcement alone. Great invitation. That's when I was like, okay, cool. I can just keep tweeting at him. Your life is an all-time justification of post-birth abortion. Thanks for the invitation to criticize you and your fellow administration of pedophile rapists. What a sorry excuse for a father, husband, vice president, human and mammal. Suck this country's collective dick. This is my favorite one. This is my favorite. I'm sorry. This one is too good. I don't know how the fuck she laid this one up so perfectly. Perfect fastball from Katie Miller. It was perfect. Shout out to Katie. Retweeting the Vagina Museum. She said, I'm really confused by this. Something about trans inclusivity. I said, Katie, you seem like confused by a lot of things. The Vagina Museum? Nothing you need to worry about. Guarantee you won't ever be on display.
ConnorEatsPants wants you to know you're not good enough. You don't meet the Vagina Museum standards.
It's walking the line, man. You know, I hate that. The last thing I want to do is do a misogyny, but it was right on the line where it's not too far.
Loving the dark work Connor Energy 2026.
It's okay, don't worry. You can do misogyny. You'll get away with it. Connor, you should know that by now.
This is like the Pope. I do think this could work. Like, literally. Like, I don't know why this isn't being considered. Like, these people need to be kicked out. There's no way they planned for this as a amendment. And then you, like religion shame the Republicans into doing it. You're like, oh, you hate God. You won't let...
Did you see the story Hassan looked out yesterday when a journalist applied to ICE that didn't ask for any background info and hired them? Yes, of course. They don't give a shit. They're handing out jobs to all the MAGA morons and the fascists because they're forming a fucking SS and they need bodies. That's how fascism works. They're hiring the lumpenproles.
The Pope be the president. Okay, whatever. So then they vote for it too. And then boom. But he's a White Sox fan? Again, it'd be temporary. He'd be like president for like 2 months while they like get an election ready. And he could do it from the Vatican. This guy was like, would you live in America? I was like, no, he can do Zoom. He can Zoom call in. He's the Pope. He knows how to be a leader, man. Anyways. It's just a thought. Just a thought. JD's saying some more dumb bullshit. He's allowed to charge a discharge weapon in self-defense. Mom should have stuffed you with the crack out of the womb. Let's see what happens for science. Maybe you'd up with a functioning brain. It was pretty quick and easy. Stephen Miller hopping on X. The left defends the guilty and condemns the innocent to suffer. It was crazy he pulled this out from November. Like, he had to go back and find this. I said the left says it's suck my dick. You know the technique. You've seen Katie work Elon's plenty. It's true, he loves the watch. Asman got mad at me.
It's crazy. And then the only thing that they have left to do is people like Connor. Mom should have stuffed you with crack out of the womb and see what happens for science. Maybe you'd end up with a functioning brain.
Oh my god, 100 gifted subs! What the fuck?
By the way, chat, notice that the Asmongold whiners don't come in here and go, Asmongold, stop talking about Connor Eats Pants. Stop talking about Cutie Cinderella, Asmongold.
Holy shit! I want to open my presents! Open them! Open them! Open them! I want to open my presents! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Thank you so much! What the fuck? Dude, I'll turn on... There you go. That's... Wow. That's for 100, man. Thank you. Very cool. Very cool.
Just vitriolic, emotional, brain-dead attacks with no degree of substance, thought at all to them. These people are...
That's not fair to me. There was a lot of degree of substance and thought to those insults. Why is he even saying that?
Degree of substance, thought at all to them. These people are the absolute manifestation of just unhinged, childish outbursts. That's what they are. Nothing else besides that. What a weirdo. Why would you even say this to somebody? What a fucking...
I mean, here's the thing about Asmongold. He's such a pearl-clutching pussy where he walks around going like, yeah, based, kill that mother, shoot that mother in the face, yeah, based, yeah, fuck around, find out, based. And then he cries and whines when someone criticizes the vice president. Shut your fucking mouth. You don't believe in rights, you fucking worm. You don't believe in rights. You just said we should steal Venezuela's oil because we can. We should murder people because we can. Shut up! Stop whining about how nice people are, you fucking baby. We will not apologize. I want you to understand, nice people like Connor Eats Pants, you've pushed them to the side. You're gonna get the people that are gonna give you exactly what you said the left is. I am that person. I'm exactly what you said the left is.
Freak. Yet.
I said I'd rather be a freak than a pawn, and then I had my thread I put on my alt. You know, listen, I've been like saying this for a minute. I figured I'd like make a thread about it. It's definitely not like conclusive evidence, but like I hope it gets people talking about it because it's just so fucking clear to me that this guy's been botted by like it's unquestionably he's been botted. Like you can't argue against that. He is being botted. But I also think it's literally being done by Russia. It makes total sense why it would. Like, it literally makes complete sense. Most viewbot farms are in Russia. They could do it in-house without like paying a service. They only benefit from propping up a useful idiot like what they did with Tim Pool. Like, it just makes total sense. I don't know if he reacted to it. Again, he probably just called me the R-slur, but I don't really care. It's whatever. If he wants to talk, I'd love to talk. Play the duo queue with me on Deadlock, Asman. This was right after I passed my kidney stone, actually. This was right after. I was done. I was finally done, and I was like, I opened up Twitter, and I was like, okay, what, did he tweet again? Did the loser fucking tweet? He didn't, so I just fucking tagged him. I was like, JD Vance, log back in, motherfucker. Keep tweeting. You're not waking anyone up. We know Usha sleeps in the other room. My son played Roblox with your boys, by the way. Great kids. Usha did a great job keeping your influence out of him. Not hard though, considering how emotionally attached you are. Fuck him. This is true. This is definitely true. The single biggest upside to terminally online chud Vice is that he certainly sees what I'm tweeting at him. 100% he sees it.
More like
absolutely zero doubt. And he can't block me. He legally can't block me. Government officials cannot block their constituents. So he just has to see it. Go fuck yourself. Asman said he'll be watching this. I said, raid me, I'll be playing Deadlock. Cutie said, Connor eats pants for president. I said, thanks, but I'd rather play video games. I think it should be a girl's turn. Tim Pool, universal literacy was a mistake. Guy who can't read. Why would he tweet this? Why are you giving me a fastball like this? He's pulling a Katie. Why are you throwing fastballs, Tim?
He doesn't have the heat. Tim Pool, I think Tim Pool dropped out of middle school, right? Like, I don't even think Tim made it to high school.
Come on, man.
Connor eats pants for song.
Make it too easy. It's a freebie. It's a freebie. It's crazy. You hit it out like Otani. It felt like it, man. Tenzin, thank you. Love that you push the Deadlock agenda with everything you do. Dude, I'm never been more confident again. It's the best game. It's the everything game. It does everything. One of your predictions came true. What's this? And so ladies, this is G7 time to avoid conflict with UFC event planned at the White House on Donald Trump's birthday. Yep. Global events being delayed for some bullshit Trump's doing. Yep. Boot up Deadlock and you're back to 600 viewers, just the way I like it for some chatter. Let me look right before Deadlock. Did you see this tweet on my alt? Bro, I saw this tweet. I was like, bro, that's literally Ludwig. Come on. Oh my god, I got 22k. Okay, people do see it. People do see it. Look at this. Funny clip, but feel bad for Ludwig. The mask isn't helping.
Why can't you take off your mask off your face, though? Why are you making eye contact with me and have your mask on? Isn't that upside down, though? How much is your bonus? Like 30, 50,000? Yeah, I'm telling you, this is what broke people do for money, bro. Yeah. This is college educated right here for all you other or Down syndrome having ass motherfuckers. Take your mask off, bitch. What's my name? You're gonna ask me that with a mask on your fucking face? I'm an American, bitch. This is what an American looks like right here, you fucking straight bitch-made motherfucker.
He's not very tough when he doesn't have 8 other guys surrounding you with guns.
Listen, dark woke. Dark woke. Capital, listen, a little far, but dark woke. That gets to him, man. It is what it is. A little too far for me, but fuck those dudes. Can Ludwig say that? Listen, Prezzo said he can.
Connor eats pants. What a legend, dude. The dark woke of Connor eats pants makes my day. All I know is that cruelty toward the right is necessary because violence and returning the energy is all they understand. You have to understand they're cowardly. And when you act kindly, the only reason they act kindly is when they're intimidated. So you have to remember they're lower IQ. They don't understand acting nicely because you like to act nice. They only act that way when they're cowed. That's why they complain about cancel culture so much. Because cancel culture is when they behave nicely because they're worried about getting punished. Because that's the only thing right-wingers ever understand. They're constantly complaining about cancel culture because they're cowardly, right? They'll only say what they believe if there's no consequences. So when you are enforcing consequences against them, That makes you bad in their mind. In other words, if you want the right wing to be normal, you've got to punish them so thoroughly and so harshly anytime they slip up. That's the only way. That's the only way. The right only understand the world is strict hierarchy, and if they're not dominated, they don't understand anything. Exactly. That's absolutely correct. Beautiful. Okay, where were we? Oh, God. Donald Trump is threatening to use the Insurrection Act in Minnesota. We talked about this yesterday, but Trump is continuing to escalate because they want to do, they're looking for a pretext. And I want you to understand something, chat, and this is very important that you understand it, that they will manufacture it. Us acting like goody two-shoes is not going to stop it. All right? They would like to have a pretext. They'd like to have an authentic event, but if necessary, they'll manufacture one. And so those of you who are being like, well, we just need to be good little boys and girls and get a permit and protest and color within the lines, that doesn't work. You have to be prepared to fight back.
I can't breathe. There's 6 of you.
Protests, tear gas, and more arrests. There's no sign of the anger subsiding in Minneapolis. These are US security forces struggling to keep protesters from entering a federal government building in the Minnesotan capital. Demonstrators and both local and state leaders are demanding an end to a surge in the numbers of US immigration officers, known as ICE agents, working in the city. They are there trying to re-vet refugees who came into the country during the Biden administration. Anger has increased since a 37-year-old mother and US citizen, Renee Good, was shot dead by an ICE officer on January the 7th. A Venezuelan man was shot in the leg as he tried to avoid arrest by ICE agents earlier this week. The situation has got so bad that the US president, who insists ICE agents must be allowed to do their jobs, has threatened to institute the US Insurrection Act. On his social media page, Truth Social, he posted, "If the corrupt politicians of Minnesota don't obey the law and stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE, who are only trying to do their job, I will institute the Insurrection Act, which many presidents have done before me, and quickly put an end to the travesty that is taking place in that once great state." The Insurrection Act is a federal law that gives the US president power to deploy the military or National Guard inside the US to quell domestic unrest. Civil rights groups have long complained it threatens basic political and human rights. The act has been invoked many times throughout US history, but since the civil rights movement of the 1960s, it's rarely been used. The last time was in 1992, when President George Bush used it to end riots in Los Angeles. The response amongst some protesters in Minneapolis is loud and clear.
It feels like fascism. It feels like Donald Trump's trying to strengthen his grip on this nation, and he's going to use our peaceful demonstrations, our First Amendment protests, as an excuse to send in the troops. But what I have to say to him is we're not scared. We got veterans out here. A lot of us are veterans of fighting this country's wars. We are not afraid.
With more protests expected, there is no sign of either the protesters or their president backing down. Charles Stratford, Al Jazeera.
Don't miss out. Get the full picture.
What a fucking scumbag, dude. Like, Donald Trump is such a fucking rat. God, I can't stand this fuck. Ugh. All right, chat. We have video analysis by ICE. Video analysis of ICE shooting sheds light on contested moments. This is the New York Times visual analysis. I can type. Okay. This is going to be disturbing, but it's necessary.
Video filmed by the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis. The White House press secretary said this footage reaffirmed President Trump's previous claim, based on other videos, that Miss Good, quote, didn't try to run him over, she ran him over.
Get out of the car.
Watched in isolation, the cell phone video might look like that's the case. But when analyzed alongside other angles of the shooting, synchronized by the Times, a much more complicated picture is revealed. More footage will likely emerge, but the currently available visual evidence still shows no indication Agent Jonathan Ross got run over. The footage does provide some visibility into the positioning between the agent and Miss Good's SUV. This is a cell phone video filmed by the ICE agent who shot and killed Renee Good in Minneapolis. The White House press secretary said this footage reaffirmed President Trump's previous claim based on
Wait, why did it loop back? What the fuck?
Videos that Miss Good, Jonathan Ross, got run over. The footage
Sorry about
does
that,
provide some visibility into the positioning between the agent and Miss Good's SUV and the key moments of escalation. And it establishes, frame by frame, how Agent Ross put himself in a dangerous position near her vehicle in the first place. About 3 minutes before the shooting, footage shows Miss Good and her wife park their maroon SUV in the middle of the street and begin honking and heckling. Administration officials say they were impeding and blocking immigration agents. Footage shows 11 vehicles maneuver around the SUV, including this Chevy Tahoe driven by Agent Ross. When he exits, he's already filming Miss Good's SUV, not with a body camera typical of most law enforcement, but using a cell phone in his hand. It's not clear why. The agent's footage shows his interactions with Miss Good.
That's fine, dude. I'm not mad at you.
And her wife.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning.
There's verbal jabbing.
It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking president. You want to come at us?
We see the agent switching the phone from his right hand to his left as he heads toward the front seat of his Tahoe.
I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy.
During this time, on the other side of the SUV, 2 new agents arrive.
Even if, okay, I wanna show a person muzzle load. In the America, we have something called. You might not be an American. I don't think you're an American. But in America, we have something called the First. You say Forced Amendment. It's called the First Amendment. It's in something called the Bill of Rights, and it gives American citizens, and in fact anybody within the jurisdiction of the United States, freedom of speech. And one of the things about freedoms of speech is I could say unpleasant things. I could say insulting things. Tell someone I don't like them. I can call them a pussy. I can tell them to go fuck themselves. I can judge their clothes, their appearance. I can tell them all sorts of mean, harsh things. That's called the First Amendment. It doesn't matter if they're a government official. In fact, I have even more rights to insult a government official because then I'm doing political speech, which is the highest, most protected form of speech. So under the First Amendment, I have that right. And if you are a government official and somebody says something you don't like, you have to do something called eat shit and die. That's how it goes. And honestly, watching the video, I didn't see her say anything that mean. I didn't see her say anything unhinged. I didn't hear any threats. I didn't hear any violent rhetoric. I heard, you guys are fucking losers. Go eat lunch, big boy. I'm a veteran. You're going to come at me. I'm a citizen. That is her right. And in fact, the country was built, supposedly, our founding myths are that we were built on our right to say, fuck you to the king. Now you want ICE agents to be my king because they're out on the street? They should be on their knees kissing my feet as a taxpayer. You have a right to free speech unless you're dumb enough to actually try it. The Clash? Yeah, based.
We see Miss Good motions them to go around her.
Go ahead. Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car.
Over the next 6 seconds,
Out of the car.
we see one agent reaching into the SUV, Miss Good starting to drive, then Agent Ross firing 3 shots. Now let's go back and analyze some of the key contested moments of the agent's cell phone video, alongside other footage to break down what happens during these critical 6 seconds. Here, the agent's cell phone footage shows he's moving directly in front of the SUV, as it's reversing and rotating towards him, initiating a 3-point turn apparently to leave. Law enforcement officers are trained to avoid doing this because it puts them in danger and often leads to the use of force against drivers. The cell phone is focused squarely on Miss Good. She looks down, shifts into drive, and begins turning to the away from the agent. Cut to this high angle and zoom in. We can make out the agent's body and his arm filming. We can also see, at the same time, he's beginning to lift his other arm. On these cameras, we can see what's happening around Agent Ross. The other agent is yelling orders and reaching into Miss Good's SUV. Her front tire spins as she continues turning right. Agent Ross is at least a few feet away from Miss Good's SUV. He does not appear to move out of the way. As the SUV rolls forward, the agent unholsters his firearm. We see in his cell phone video at this moment the camera drifting off. The agent is no longer focused on filming. It's at this point in the cell phone video where it first looks and sounds like the agent's getting knocked violently. On the other camera, we can see what's happening. Here is Agent Ross aiming his gun at Miss Good, and here is his outstretched arm leaning toward her vehicle, which is barely visible behind the Tahoe.
So he slipped because it was icy streets and he used the car to steady himself as he started shooting. Oh my God, it's even worse than I
His
thought.
phone, which is gripped in his left hand, flips over when the agent's hand lands on the front of the vehicle. There's an audible thud when it hits. The camera rotates up towards the sky. Again, while it appears the agent's getting knocked over, we can see that's not the case from the other angle, which shows he's standing with his hand near the headlight, his torso and legs away from the vehicle. In the cell phone footage, the agent's face flashes on screen, then it goes black. The other angle shows us why. We can see the agent's foot sliding, his hand bracing against the SUV.
The SUV was going so slow, he was bracing himself on it. The SUV was going so slow and there was no threat that he was steadying himself so he could shoot her on the SUV, and he was not in the way. I thought she at least bumped him, but it turns out, no, he was sliding on icy roads and he used the car to steady himself so he could shoot her in the face. She saved him. The SUV was being driven so slowly that instead of face planting because he lost his balance, he stood up.
And his arm getting pressed into his chest. It is impossible to determine if this is happening because of the SUV's movement or the icy asphalt, or more likely, both. And what's very unclear because of the limited quality and availability of footage is whether the agent's upper body gets swiped by the vehicle as his left foot slides back. This moment is when Agent Ross fires.
And then you can see from this angle, look at him. He's not in front of the car. He's on the side of the car. He's on the side of the car, using the car to steady himself because he was going to fall down in ice. There was no threat at all.
We see the other agent pull back from the SUV. Both of them stumble, apparently slipping on the ice. This is also the moment many have said looks like Agent Ross getting run over. And it does when watched at full speed. But looking more closely, we can see in multiple angles that there's a visible gap between the vehicle and his legs, indicating his feet are positioned outside the SUV. The agent's left hand is still against the vehicle and gripping his phone. We see as
the phone didn't even get knocked out of his hand. She was going so slowly that the phone didn't even get knocked out of his hand.
He fires, it's recording the clouds and the trees overhead. It's not because the agent is knocked to the ground. The other angle shows he's still standing, continuing to maintain his grip on his phone and his gun. And we see a clear and growing gap between his body and the SUV as he fires a second shot and a third. None of the bullets have the effect of stopping the SUV. But they kill Renee Good. According to our analysis of audio from Agent Ross's cell phone video, this is his reaction.
Fucking bitch.
What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you do?
According to a White House spokesperson, Agent Ross, quote, suffered internal bleeding after he was struck by the car.
Shame! Shame! Shame!
Later that evening, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem said that he had been treated at a local hospital and released.
At no point was he struck by the vehicle. In fact, the vehicle was going so slow that he steadied himself on icy streets. The phone wasn't knocked out of his hand, and he shot when the car was not even aiming at him or anyone else. This was cold-blooded murder. And if you support this, you're fucking a moron. I don't know what else to say other than, okay, I'm returning the energy. Anybody who supports this, I'm returning the energy. I promise you I'll return the energy. I promise you. The fire department say he shot 4 times, hitting her twice in the torso and 1 in the wrist. Jesus. She still had a pulse, so the paramedics removed her. They probably let her die on purpose. Private GOP polls show Trump administration immigration collapse. Top aides worried what a role Stephen Miller. Trump unnerved by images, but so far holding firm. Trump's immigration erosion worries his team. So in other words, chat, the more we fight back, the more Trump's popularity goes down. The more we fight back, the more things look chaotic, the more the right wing's popularity declines because people don't like it. They're not blaming us. They're not blaming the left. They're blaming Trump. So it's our job to escalate, force him to be more unhinged. The worries that part of Trump's brain trust are first signs of internal second guessing of his controversial ICE enforcement tactics. The private polling suggested a rupturing of the coalition of independent, moderate, and minority voters who are key parts of Trump's victory in 2024. Such voters will play a big role in determining whether Republicans keep their slim House majority in November's midterms. If Republicans lose the House, Trump will head into his final 2 years as a lame duck who he acknowledges could face a third impeachment. I wouldn't say he's concerned about the policy, a top Trump advisor told Axios. He wants deportations. He wants mass deportations. But he doesn't want what people are seeing. He doesn't like that the way it looks. It looks bad. So he's expressed discomfort at that. There's a right way to do this, and this doesn't look like the right way to a lot of people. Imagine instead of like spending $175 billion on ICE, they just gave people like 20 grand to leave the country. Probably would have been cheaper. Several Republicans in Congress have expressed concern to the White House about how the raids are playing out. According to a person familiar with the discussions, ICE aggressive tactics are dominating the news and obscuring the White House's work on cost of living issues that congressional Republicans Trump and his team see as important. Internal GOP polling that alarms of Trump insiders was completed at the end of December, days before ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good. 60% of independent voters and 58% of undecided voters said Trump was too focused on deporting illegal immigrants. 33 said Trump was primarily deporting law-abiding people as opposed to criminals. ICE is taking a reputational hit. Only 38% of Americans now approve of Trump's immigration policies. Are we really going to be the Gestapo, he asked? Where are your papers? Is that what we've come to? Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act in Minnesota, which, among other things, could lead to him sending in National Guard troops. White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem are the architects of the current effort, and they have Trump's support. Some Trump allies believe Noem, a former South Dakota governor, is preparing to run for president in 2028 as an immigration hardliner. For now, Trump's policy is escalation, sending more federal agents into Minneapolis as Minnesota sues to stop it. President Trump continues to be viewed as a strong leader who keeps the American people safe, says Caroline Levitt. Big reason for that is his law and order agenda and handling of the immigration border security, which remains among his best polling issues with voters. That it doesn't. So she's just saying nonsense. Amazing.
We begin today's show looking at ICE's escalating use of violence and force. Last week, an ICE agent fatally shot Renee Good, 37-year-old mother of three in Minneapolis, sparking nationwide protests. On Thursday, President Trump threatened to invoke the Insurrection Act and send troops to Minnesota. Following the shooting of Renee Good, ICE's violent tactics have come under increasing scrutiny. A new investigation by ProPublica documents more than 40 cases of immigration agents using banned chokeholds and other moves that can cut off breathing. In one case, ICE agents violently arrested an ICU nurse in California named Amanda Treback while she was documenting ICE operations in the Los Angeles area. Two plainclothes masked agents were filmed pinning her against the pavement as they knelt on her back. One agent put his knee on Treback's head for a brief moment.
Filming you. Get off her head! Get off me! Get off! Your knee is off her head! Get it off!
Get back, get back.
Get off her head!
Get back.
You better get back. Get off me! This is public property, sir. This is public property. Streaming live. This is ICE beating her up. They got her knee on her head. I am where I need to be, 10 feet, so.
You guys get her in the van?
Sir, you okay? Yeah.
Amanda Treback was then held in federal custody. After her release, she appeared on Democracy Now!
They came out in a convoy. They jumped out of the vehicle. As you could see, they pinned me to the ground and they handcuffed me. They took me into an unmarked vehicle. They did not read me my rights. They didn't tell me where I was going. They shut the vehicle. They drove me to the other side of the non-civilian side of Terminal Island. And basically, they kidnapped me.
We're joined now by ProPublica reporter Nicole Foy. Her latest article headlined, "We found more than 40 cases of immigration agents using banned chokeholds and other moves that can cut off breathing." In October, Nicole also revealed how ICE detained more than 170 U.S. citizens. Nicole Foy, welcome to Democracy Now! It's great to have you with us. Why don't you lay out your latest findings?
Hold on.
Talk about these potentially lethal chokeholds, which are, in fact, illegal?
Yes. My coworker, Mackenzie Funk, and I, we spent most of this last year documenting aggressive tactics by immigration agents. And what we found is that over the last year, immigration agents across the country have.
By the way, before we go in more, just some political news. Marist poll just put out a new poll. Donald Trump's disapproval is now at 56 with that poll, a new high for them. Pathetic. worm.
Have used these really dangerous and banned by their own policy chokehold and carotid restraints, as well as many of these also dangerous kneeling on people's necks, kneeling on backs like we saw with Amanda, in ways that can really restrict your breathing and your blood flow, which is one of the reasons why their own training actually highly discourages this types of arrest, but we've seen it across the country.
And Nicole, can you talk about some of the specific examples that you document? For instance, Arnaldo Bazan, a 10th grader in Texas?
Yes, he was. That's a case that I think really sticks out because he is a 16-year-old U.S. citizen, and he was really violently arrested with his father in a store in Houston. You can hear him in the video as officers are putting him in a chokehold, screaming that he's a minor, that he's 16, he was going to school, that he's a U.S. citizen, and yet he told us that that didn't matter. The agent continued to use a chokehold on him that, again, is banned unless there is a call for deadly force. And when we showed videos like this one to a number of police officers, other former immigration officials and top DHS officials, they were really appalled, and they had no idea what could have prompted this level of deadly force, especially against someone like a 16-year-old U.S. citizen who really had really difficult and dramatic injuries to deal with in the aftermath.
Now, there is a federal ban on chokeholds and similar tactics. Have any officers from your reporting who've used these tactics faced disciplinary measures?
We've yet to find any evidence that they have. We asked the Department of Homeland Security if they have disciplined any officers, especially in cases where we showed them these videos and said your own policy bans the use of a carotid restraint, the use of a chokehold. What have these officers been disciplined? And they did not answer us, would not tell us if any had been disciplined for these tactics, and they stood very firmly behind their officers' actions and said that they were acting with the utmost professionalism and even using a reasonable amount of force.
I wanted to read from your piece. Immigration agents have put civilians' lives at risk using more than their guns. An agent in Houston put a teenage citizen into a chokehold, wrapping his arm around the boy's neck, choking him so hard his neck had red welts hours later. A black masked agent in Los Angeles pressed his knee into a woman's neck while she was handcuffed, then appeared to pass out. An agent in Massachusetts jabbed his finger and thumb into the neck and arteries of a young father who refused to be separated from his wife and one-year-old daughter. The man's eyes rolled back in his head, and he started convulsing. That's what you wrote. Tell us more about these cases.
I think the case of the young father in Massachusetts is particularly disturbing and was really disturbing for so many of the bystanders who were there witnessing it and recording it.
I think one of the things that we need to understand is that a procedure for de-arrest needs to start to be pursued. And that involves good faith, legal intervening and defense of others when you see somebody's rights being trampled. And I feel like there is this kind of like recording effect where people start recording with their phones and they think that's an intervention. It's not. Recording with your phone is not an intervention. It's making content. Now, I don't know what I would do in those situations. I probably would hesitate to do anything as well. I'm not trying to condemn anybody who recorded this. Recording is important. It's just, what is your recording going to do? And that is the difficult problem that we all have to ponder.
Like you said, he refused to be separated from his young daughter, a 1-year-old who was in the car with him, in between him and his wife. Agents had come to arrest his wife, but she also didn't want to leave her 1-year-old behind. She said that she was still breastfeeding and she couldn't leave the child behind. And in an effort, and we know this because we reviewed body cam footage and bystander footage, we know that officers really wanted them, specifically this young man, Carlos, to let go, and he wouldn't let go of his daughter or his wife. And so you can see in the video the moment when an agent decides to reach around from the back and press his fingers and thumb into his neck, and he appears to start having a seizure. And he shakes so violently that his young daughter, who is of course crying, is shaking with him. He did end up getting to be released with his daughter, but he's filed a lawsuit alleging not only excessive force, but also alleging that ICE officers delayed medical attention when he requested it on the scene. And so it's really a difficult video to watch, but these arrests are playing out around the country and often in full view of cameras and witnesses.
And this issue of ICE arresting American citizens, you mentioned there have been about 130 of them, including about a dozen elected officials. Could you talk about some of those cases, especially the case of Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales?
Yes. So last year in October, and this count was only updated as of October 2025, we had found that more than 170 U.S. citizens in total were arrested around the country by immigration agents. Around 130 of those were actually arrested after accusations of assaulting officers or during protests or because they were alleged to be obstructing ICE activities. But there were also many other U.S. citizens like Dulce who were arrested and detained because of the fact that immigration agents believed that they were not U.S. citizens. And this is despite evidence that was often presented to them at the time of arrest or afterwards by family members. I believe that is the case of what happened with Dulce, that they presented a birth certificate, and yet that she was.
Would you rule out an engagement as a proper means of intervening effectively? Here's what I would say. I would say that you should follow all local laws and regulations regarding self-defense. And there's an old saying. There's an old saying called, you can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. What they mean by that is defending yourself against law enforcement, even when they're in the wrong, typically doesn't go well for you. Because law enforcement officers don't care about your rights. They see a law enforcement officer under attack, whether it's justified or not, and they go and destroy the attacker. And there's a long, long tradition of basically cops siding with criminal cops in the moment. So that's something that you always have to keep in mind. Anytime somebody talks about de-arrest or any kind of engagement. My personal feeling is that it's not necessarily a good strategy. It's very easy to say, it's very hard to do. But it is something that we're probably going to see more and more of. De-arrests, direct physical confrontations with ICE. Senate Dems offering more ICE funding in exchange for body cams. Senate Dems are reportedly offering ICE funding increases in exchange for body cams and de-escalation training for agents. Body cams can be turned off. De-escalation training can be ignored. Unclear if no masks, requiring ID badges, and no immunity is on the table. Embarrassing.
Was still detained for a number of days over the holidays, if I'm remembering correctly.
Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales' case first gained national attention when one of her attorneys took to the internet out of frustration with the lack of legal process and progress in the case.
My name is Victoria Slatton. I'm an immigration attorney. I currently have a client who is a U.S. citizen who is in ICE custody. They're blatantly ignoring orders from the court. They're not allowing me access to my client, and I am at a loss, and I'm incredibly angry.
Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales was finally released from ICE detention earlier this month, and this is how NBC4 Washington reported on her release and reunion with her 5-year-old son.
Brazilian cheese balls? This is like the cheesy bread, right? Have you ever had these, chat? Say it is. What are they pronounced?
Literal orgasm in the fucking mouth.
Heo de... Oh, wow. Okay, very good. These are good. Made by a Gordon Ramsay winner of a Gordon Ramsay cooking show. These are pretty good. All right, let's keep going.
This is the moment when Dulce Consuelo Diaz Morales is once again able to embrace her son.
Me sentí muy alegre, muy emocionada.
volver a mirar a mi hijo.
The 22-year-old mother says she was overjoyed, and it was an incredibly emotional moment when she saw her son once again. She says she was detained by ICE agents on December 14th in front of her family near her home in Baltimore.
Y a mí nada más me dijeron, bájate que estás arrestada.
She says ICE agents told her to get out of the car because she was being detained. She says she tried to explain to them that she was born here in Maryland, but she says they didn't believe her.
In your ProPublica expose, what has surprised you most, Nicole?
I think one of the most surprising things is maybe that this is just happening around the country, and often just really in full view of cameras, whether immigration agents are arresting U.S. citizens.
And they're grabbing cameras.
And grabbing cameras. I think that is really, as someone who is a journalist and so, of course, is a huge advocate of the free press, it is perfectly legal to document these activities. And yet many of the U.S. citizens who have been arrested by immigration agents believe that they were arrested because they were filming and after they were told to stop filming.
And agents are usually masked. How can they be held accountable? You are documenting illegal actions.
I think it's really difficult. We're, of course, seeing a number of states and other municipalities try to find some way to allow their residents to file lawsuits against officers, but that's really difficult when not only are these agents masked, the government is not telling us usually who someone is that has committed an act of excessive force or something like that. But on top of that, the institutions within ICE and DHS that are supposed to hold these officers accountable and at least conduct some type of internal review have been just completely stripped of personnel and authority.
I want to thank you very much for being with us. Nicole Foy is a reporter for ProPublica covering immigration and labor. We'll link to all your recent pieces. Thanks for watching Democracy Now! On YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
Oh, Bernie Sanders just made a new post about Renee Good.
Thanks very much for joining me.
Damn.
I wish I could cheer you up, but I can't. This is an unprecedented and dangerous moment in modern American history.
Jesus.
Under a president who is increasingly unhinged and every day is moving us toward an authoritarian society with more and more power resting in his own hands. While the situation is frightening, I am absolutely confident that if we stand together and not let Trump and his friends divide us up, we can and will prevail. And the good news is that even more and more Republicans are understanding the folly of standing with Trump on both policy and political issues, as polls indicate that he is becoming more and more unpopular. Let's give Donald Trump credit for being straightforward. Last week in an interview with the New York Times, when asked about what he considers to be the limits on his own power in terms of international affairs, he said, quote, "Yeah, there is one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me. As
a non-American, can you explain why Bernie doesn't run for president? Because he's a million years fucking old. He's a million fucking years old. He was already old as fuck in 2024. At this point, he had his shot. His time has passed.
Need international law, end quote. Trump says he doesn't need international law. And as a result, Trump believes he has the right to attack Venezuela without congressional approval, the right to threaten to go to war against Denmark, a long-standing NATO ally, in order to take over Greenland, and to threaten Mexico, Colombia, and even Canada. In other words, Trump is right. He has no respect for international law, which means that no other country on earth will have respect for international. As a result, we will move to international anarchy, where any act of violence, for whatever reason that any country or terrorist group thinks is acceptable, will be done. And that is a horrific situation. But it is not just his disregard for international law. It is his contempt for the Constitution of the United States and for the rule of law here at home. He has continued to illegally rescind money that Congress has appropriated for everything from education to climate change. He has denied funding to states that committed the crime of voting against him in an election. He has attacked federal courts that ignored court orders. He has sent FBI agents into a Washington Post reporter's home. He has attacked media, which has not bent the need. He has withheld funding from universities whose curriculum he disagrees with. He is renaming federal buildings after himself. He is investigating his political opponents, including the conservative chairman of the Federal Reserve, multiple United States senators, and the Attorney General of the state of New York. And he is pressuring states to redraw congressional maps so that his favored candidates win. Donald Trump does not disagree with his opponents. He is attempting to destroy his opponents. In other words, plain and simple, when you add all of this up and more, Trump is undermining the foundations of American democracy and everything this country has stood for since its inception. And as bad as all of that is, we now have the situation in Minneapolis. An unarmed American citizen, Renee Good, was shot in the head by an ICE officer in broad daylight. Instead of demanding accountability for her killing, the Trump administration's first instinct to lie, describing her as a domestic terrorist and offering the officer absolute immunity. This, by the way, as you may recall, is reminiscent of how the January 6th insurrectionists were redefined by Trump as peaceful protesters and pardoned. In other words, when people are trying to overthrow the government of the United States violently, they are peaceful protesters, they are pardoned. When a woman is sitting in her car and shot in the head, she is a domestic terrorist, and the guy who shoots her is pardoned. Instead of withdrawing ICE from the city of Minneapolis or reducing its presence because of this horrific act, the Trump administration has instead sent thousands more ICE agents into the city. It is now threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act, which would allow him to bring the United States military into Minneapolis above and beyond the thousands of masked ICE agents who are already there. In other words, the Trump administration's response to peaceful protest is a military takeover of a major American city. This is not only an outrage unto itself, it sets a precedent for the U.S. military to be deployed domestically against Trump's perceived opponents. Meanwhile, in the midst of all of these moves toward authoritarianism, let's not forget that the billionaire class is getting richer and richer, while 60% of our people live paycheck to paycheck. Our healthcare system is collapsing, people can't afford housing, and grocery prices are still rising. 800,000 Americans are homeless in this country. Working families can't afford to feed their kids, and Trump is looking for a war with Denmark to annex Greenland. That is the world we are living in. Where do we go from here? Just a few points. The American people are sick and tired of masked ICE agents shooting people, pulling them, dragging them from their cars, arresting and detaining children, and deporting people who have lived and worked peacefully in this country for decades.
Oh no, chat. Okay, chat, I was gonna tell you, I want you guys, if you are in Southern California, I want you to go to DSA LA's Community Defense Whistle Kit Assembly and Social. It is going to be at the Audiograph Beer Company in downtown LA. I'm going. You think it's full? I don't give a shit. Show up anyway. I mentioned it yesterday on stream, so that might explain why the attendance limit has been reached. I don't give a fuck. If it's too full, it's too fucking full. Do the ongoing ICE raids terrorizing our communities have you feeling angry, heartbroken, scared, or disempowered? DSA LA's Fighting Fascism campaign needs help assembling over 300 whistle kits. We'll arm our neighbors with the Know Your Rights and hotline information that keeps us safe. Come meet the patrollers and canvassers who have been defending the Hollywood Home Depot and sharing KYR info, know your rights info with community businesses across the city since last June, and learn how you could join the fight. Enjoy local brews and lively conversations with new friends and comrades as we put together resources to shield Angelenos from the Trump administration's fascist terror. Donald Trump agrees with people like me. Disagree 66%. Agree 33%. Oh my God. Holy shit. So there you go, chat. If you want something to do tomorrow to stand up against Trump and you're in the Los Angeles area, especially central LA, come down to this event and join DSA. All right, let's keep going.
The American people want and Congress must deliver comprehensive immigration reform and a path to citizenship. Second, we must continue in every legal and nonviolent way possible to oppose Trump's authoritarianism. I'm going to do all that I can here in the United States Senate. People have got to do all that they can in their own communities. We must focus on the midterm elections next November. If we can defeat Republicans in the House and in the Senate, we can, to a very significant degree, slow down Trump's authoritarianism and put an end to his efforts to undermine American democracy. These are dangerous times, but we must never forget this. Real change has never come from the top on down. It has always come from ordinary people standing together, protesting, organizing, and fighting for justice. Democracy is not something that we inherit. It is something that we fight for. And if we do that, if we stay engaged, if we stay united, we will not only defeat authoritarianism and oligarchy, we will build a country that finally works for all of us, not just the few. Thank you very much.
Whistles are outdated. We're on to portable air raid sirens now.
TikTok of people using whistles to alert their neighbors that ICE is coming. And I think that's a really good system. And I think we're kind of sleeping on something that might even produce a better result for warning people over long distances that ICE is coming. This is a portable air raid siren. It does not require electricity. It is compact for the amount of sound it makes. It's relatively cheap. I got this for $27 on Amazon, and it makes a really loud sound. You can already start to hear it. I'm going to unfold it. All you have to do is just take these handles out, push this button down. This thing from far, far away, and it's the universal sound of the Nazis are coming. It is scary as hell. I think this is a good option. I think
it might be a little bit extreme, but you know what? I'll put that on that's an idea. That's an idea. I just realized something, chat. We are 3.5 hours into the stream, and I have not shilled this week. I swear to God, I have not shilled this much. We are dangerously close to 8,000 subscriptions. We're at 71. If you enjoy this content, if you enjoy the fact that every single time you subscribe to this channel, do you know how many of enemies that we have vanquished, chat? Do you know how many people seethe when we succeed? Do you understand? I need to go back and look at all the people that were used to be content creators that tried to take on this channel and Hassan and no longer exist. That would be a really fun video. How long do you think that would be? When you support the stream, you are pissing off the dumbest motherfuckers on the entire planet. I already gave my sub to Asmin already. Damn, Asmin? He doesn't have very many subs. Somehow I doubt you even gave him a sub. Somehow I doubt you even gave him a sub, to be honest. Most of his fans don't seem to like exist. GT Buzzsaw, thank you for the 10 tier 1s. Chat, we're already at level 8. We have a hype train. Top sub gifter, top bit donor, get the hype train conductor badge. Clear Games gave a 20 bomb. Thank you so much. Thank you for all the primes. Chat, during a hype train, if you sub, resub, gift a sub, use a prime sub, or give at least 200 bits during the hype trade, you participate, you unlock a hype chest, which has a variety of rewards that you unlock site-wide permanently. Wow. And if you're the top sub gifter or the top bit donor during the hype train, you get a golden locomotive next to your name that then becomes a permanent purple locomotive chat badge that you get to keep forever. Wow. What a value. So choo-choo, motherfuckers. Support the stream. Okay, chat. We are at 79.15. Oh my God. We are so close. We are so close. And Ethan Klein, ladies and gentlemen, he monitors my sub count. He monitors it. And anytime he thinks it dips, he starts... Is this the one? No, this isn't the one. No, clips from PA. You need to publish again. We need clips from PA. Oh, here it is.
Mike from PA, to me, is a full-on grifter. One day I'm going to do a video on this guy. He is the most pathetic dipshit on all of Twitch. And just to show you how easy this grift is, this guy is like relatively successful. And he is like not talented. He is vile. And he is cringe as fuck. What's his average view count?
Probably like a couple K.
Couple K?
Does he really get a couple K?
Nice. And somehow he still succeeded. You know? He has 7,000 members or something. Every time I see that number, I'm like, whoa. I'm happy to say that his sub count is getting lower.
Is it?
So notice that Gila Klein giggled. Every time you subscribe, you are giving Dan, Abe, absent backbone, poop cleaner, Gila Klein, the IDF terrorist, and Ethan Klein, the guy who's I think he's younger than me, chat. Ethan Klein is younger than me. Did you know that? Ethan Klein is younger than me. And he looks older than my dad, who's in his 70s. You look 55. In no world do I look 55. I look my age. Ethan Klein looks 55. Ethan Klein, health decline. Ethan, health decline. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it's closer to 8,000 before. I mean, every time I look, he has between 7,000 and 8,000 paying members, which is pretty disturbing, but it is what it is.
Like, I gotta be honest, I don't even notice when Ethan Klein talks about me. I legitimately don't notice. Somebody has to tell me.
Mike from PA. 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 Mike from
Chad,
PA.
we're 16 subs, excuse me, away from reaching 8,000. Which every time it gets, he says I'm between 7,000 and 8,000. Every time we breach 8,000, it sends Ethan Klein into an Instagram story spiral about me.
Mike from PA. 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 Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from PA. Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from PA to me.
The only time I talk about Ethan Klein is to make fun of him for being just, what could you even say? For being the biggest fall off in history. Oh man, you know, we talked about this earlier, chat, and I thanked you because I'm now in the top 200 English channel worldwide. 427 of all channels in all languages worldwide on Twitch. We're headed towards that top 100 channel. Oh, what's Hutch's number? I saw that Hutch was trying to kiss Destiny's ass. What's he at? 6,520. Oh, oof. Look at that follower. La, 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 la. Then he became a Destiny orbiter. Blah. Wait, he still hasn't even gotten 8 million hours watched? Jeez. Jeez. That's so rip. What a flatline. Became Destiny orbiter. Flatlined career. Negative followers every stream. Ooh, ooh, oofy zoofy. We had some of the biggest stories and he can't get a follower.
Did you cover Hutch's reaction? No, I don't cover Hutch's reaction to anything. Is there a new Call of Duty map out? Maybe I covered that. Considering how fucking consistently wrong he is, why in the ever-loving would I ever cover Hutch's takes on anything political related? I already listened to enough morons be professionally wrong all the time on the Republican side. What do you want me to do? You want me to also listen to professionally wrong morons on the liberal side? I'm sorry. Has that man ever had a correct take? Maybe you should pay Michael from Pennsylvania the $500 or $1,000 that he had.
It's $1,500 actually. It's two separate bets. One for 500 and one for 1,000. He doesn't disagree that he was wrong on the bet. He tries to say like, I didn't like shake your hand in person, so the bet didn't happen. He doesn't try to say that he won the bet. He says, I didn't shake your hand, so it's not a real bet. Absolutely spineless. What did he bet again? One was about Joe Biden winning the 2024 election. And what was the other one, chat? That Trump would be arrested before the general election of 2024. He thought that Trump was going to be arrested by Biden and that Biden would win 2024. And I told him, no, that's not, neither one of those things are happening. I mean, it's crazy because like I go on my channel and it's like the only day I didn't get new followers was the day I streamed on New Year's Day. Because who the fuck is on Twitch on New Year's Day? But to not get any followers at all this month is crazy. Like, this is a great politics month. And it's like, look at this chart. Look at this chart. Anyway, let's keep going. Sorry for getting off on a tangent, chat. Oh, we broke 8,000. Thank you. I just wanted to laugh at them because it's not that I care that much about numbers or whatever. I really don't. I'd be saying the same thing. Even if nobody watched, I'd be saying the same thing. Hutch is down 250 followers in the last 30 days. That's crazy. Asmund only has 4,700 subs. How does he have less subs than you at 5 times as many viewers? Okay, couple things. One, Asmund Gold has a lot more non-American viewers than I do. So non-American viewers tend to be lower income than American viewers in general because, you know, it is what it is. The second thing is he bots a lot. Asmund Gold's view count is not correct. It's not real. My view count is 100% legitimate. And people only come into my channel to follow it if they click on my channel intentionally, which is very hard. Which is why you can see, you can look at my channel and be like, Mike, you have 100,000 followers and yet you have 5,000 concurrent viewers. How is that? Because my followers are real. Like that's the answer to that. If someone clicks on my channel and they watch me, they stay at the highest rate on the entire platform. So that is, you know, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Legally, I must say I'm a bit. You misspelled bot. Phase it. Thank you for the 5 tier 1s. So I don't say that because I'm an egomaniac, although that I am. And I know it's very unlikable to do this. But the point that I'm trying to make is that when people actually get exposed to left-wing ideas, even when they come from an arrogant dipshit like myself, and they think things through and they look at the way that I analyze the world and they look at my predictions and they look at the way I see things, I'm not infallible. Sometimes there's information out there that I'm not aware of that would, you know, and sometimes my predictions are incorrect for a variety of reasons, right? It's impossible to know the future with complete certainty. But the reality is if you watch me, you realize that things tend to line up with exactly what I was saying over the course of years, which is why this line keeps going up. It's not because I'm getting promoted by Twitch. It's not because I'm getting rated by Hassan every day. I'm not. It's not because a bunch of people are promoting me in their own channels and going like, you gotta watch Mike. You gotta watch Mike. It is a slow grassroots effort. Yes, I've collaborated with people like Hassan and Will and Caroline and Austin Show. But most of those things happened a while ago. Like, you know, my collaborations with Hassan, I do them a couple times a year, really. It's not something that's building me up slowly over the course of time. We're doing that on our own. So thank you guys for recommending me through word of mouth yourselves. What I mean is, like, I'm not being promoted. I'm not an industry plant. Let's just put it that way. You know, I don't have an organization. Mike is my only tier 3 for a reason. It's because it's the most informative. Hassan may be my daily coffee, but Mike is my daily espresso. You should cut back on your caffeine. I've heard your name thrown around on Twitter for years before watching your stream. That after the election, Hassan praised your prediction, so I tuned in. Hell yeah. So thank you guys, gals. I couldn't be here without you all. You are the people. You are the reason I'm a success, because you are real live human beings that show up day in and day out. So thank you. And, you know, obviously I wouldn't be here without Hassan, and I'm so glad that I'm able to call him a friend, and more importantly than that, a comrade. I like Hassan because of the work he does and the viewpoints he has. And we line up very much so. We're on the same page. And I like to think that we've changed each other's minds over the years. Mike, are you going to apply for the new Trump credit cards?
Your thoughts on the president putting this in place? Obviously, Congress would have to codify this for law. Will these banks be—
Hassan is a revisionist. If you're not a revisionist in 2026, what's wrong with you? Is Marx God? Did he perfectly encapsulate all aspects of social science and capitalist analysis in 1848? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Yes, GigaChat. Oh, okay, good point. I think the way that some ultras fixate on Marx as like a semi-religious text is fucking weird. The guy was a genius, and he's the foundation of our beliefs. And dialectical materialism is based and incredibly correct. And you get a lot from reading Marx. But it's like, you know, that was 200 years ago, man. Like, we have to have some updating of our theory. We have to keep driving forward human knowledge. We have to try various ideas and see what are functional and what are dysfunctional. We don't know how to get to socialism yet. It's just weird when people throw those terms out. Kind of sounds revisionist to me. So true. All right, where were we before we started talking about me and laughing at Ethan Klein so I could get more money? Thank you, chat. We are at 8,078 subs. Ethan Klein, eat your heart out. Thank you for the subscription, Super Val. There's a story that I've been...
Let's begin with President Trump.
Apparently, ICE is starting to detain Native Americans on reservations as well.
It's threatening to use the Insurrection Act in response to the protests over ICE operations in Minneapolis. That came in a social media post yesterday where he told politicians in Minnesota to, quote, stop the professional agitators and insurrectionists from attacking the patriots of ICE. The Insurrection Act empowers the military to make arrests and perform searches domestically. Functions the military generally otherwise is prohibited for performing inside the United States. It was last invoked in 1992 during the LA riots. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz responded on social media with an appeal to the president, writing, let's turn the temperature down. Stop this campaign of retribution. This is not who we are. Meanwhile, Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem was pressed yesterday at the White House about the ICE operations in Minneapolis and why American citizens are being asked for proof of citizenship.
In every situation, we're doing targeted enforcement. If we are on a target and doing an operation, there may be individuals surrounding that criminal that we may be asking who they are and why they're there and having them validate their identity. That's what we've always done in asking people who they are so that we know who's in those surroundings. And if they are breaking our federal laws, we will detain them as well until we run that process.
Secretary Noem, are you okay with federal agents and officers violating people's Fourth Amendment rights by asking for papers without reasonable suspicion?
Every single action that our ICE officers take is according to the law and following protocols that we have used for years, that this administration has used, that the previous administration used. They are doing everything correctly, and over again in litigation in the courts, we've proven that they've done the right thing.
So Secretary Noem saying pretty clear there, if you are in the area of a suspected, it's okay to ask for your papers even when you're an American citizen. We're getting more details about the fatal shooting of Renee Good last week after records from emergency services were released yesterday. Calls to 911 began at 9:38 a.m. on January the 7th, moments after an ICE officer fired into Good's car. The New York Times reports frantic calls persisted for about an hour after that. When paramedics arrived quickly at 9:42 a.m., Good was in the driver's seat, unresponsive, with blood on her face and torso. After they removed her from the vehicle, she was not breathing and had an irregular pulse. The fire department's report said she had 2 apparent gunshot wounds on the right side of her chest, another on her left forearm, and a pop.
Wait, really? She should have been able to survive that. What? She should have been able to survive that. Or at least have a chance. Did they leave? Like, how long did they leave her? Did they leave her to bleed out?
Possible fourth, as they put it, on the left side of her head. Medics performed CPR on Good in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. Resuscitation efforts ended at 10:30 a.m. That was inside the Hennepin County Medical Center. Let's go straight to Minneapolis, where we find once again this morning MS Now reporter Nnamdi Igwanwu. Nnamdi, good morning. What is the latest there?
Good morning. We're here at the Whipple building, which serves as the de facto headquarters for ICE here in Minneapolis and has been the site of protests over the last week, particularly in the aftermath of Renee Good's death, and particularly increasingly volatile clashes overnight, where federal agents again had to use crowd control measures like tear gas and pepper balls to contain a crowd of very, very upset protesters who were here for hours protesting ICE's presence here in the city. In response to these consistent protests, we've seen both the federal government respond by fortifying the Whipple building. They've continued to add new fencing and cement blocks to try to prevent or impede protesters' ability to get too close to the entrance of this facility. But protesters, likewise, leaving their supplies alongside the area they're permitted to be in. We're seeing cases of water, which are used often when tear gassing occurs to clean out the eyes of some of these protesters. We're seeing supplies left here, food, posters. So both sides continue to stand this ground amid a consistent clashes we've been seeing and a demand from some of these protesters that ICE leaves the city. I do want to point out, though, that while the protests last night got a little bit volatile, the overwhelming majority of protests we've seen here in Minneapolis have been peaceful, including a demonstration that also happened last night at a Target headquarters in downtown Minneapolis. During that demonstration, we saw 30 to 40 clergy members have a sit-in at the headquarters here in Minneapolis, demanding that Target, for one, denounce the presence of ICE in the city and state, and also reaffirm.
Imagine if we had Democrats that were of any. I mean, I honestly don't know why AOC and Bernie Sanders don't go to Minneapolis right now. AOC should go to Minneapolis right fucking now and do a rally. They should do it right now.
Status as a Fourth Amendment workplace, which means, prevent federal personnel from coming on its property to conduct its targeted enforcement. Now, we spoke to members of the clergy that attended that sit-in, specifically about the calls from Governor Walz that demonstrations remained peaceful. I want to play for you a bit of what we heard.
It is insane that we would ever say something about who needs to be peaceful when we are calling on the ones who are being violent to be peaceful. And so, yes, I absolutely agree with Governor Walz. I absolutely believe that we should all be peaceful. And I'm also super clear about who is not being it. So, yeah, we know that the President of the United States is trying to bait Minnesotans into being able to institute the Insurrection Act. But let's also know he also welcomed insurrectionists on January 6th.
So according to the organizer you just heard from, they were able to secure a meeting with the CEO of Target, Brian Cornell, on Monday. We're out to Target for a response, and we're still waiting to hear back, Jonathan.
Hassan was talking to Omar Fateh about going to the Twin Cities for the general strike. Honestly, Hassan, we need to get ready for LA. Like, this shit's going to come to LA next. LA and New York is probably next after Minnesota. If I had to guess.
From local officials there that some of these ICE tactics, Border Patrol agent tactics, are meant to be provocative, are meant to instigate some of the scenes of violence that has broken out now and then, although you're right to point out the majority of these protests are peaceful. I know there's a lot of protests planned nationwide, including in the Twin Cities this weekend, about ICE and its tactics. Talk to us about the level of concern there that some of them may also spiral out of control.
We have heard consistently from organizers since we've been here that there is a big focus on keeping things peaceful. I think that's part of the reason why they have tried to plan programming that allows residents here to voice their frustrations, but doing so in ways that, while disruptive, are peaceful. We've seen a variety of these methods of protest. They include, quote, noise demonstrations, which is when some of these protesters find or identify hotels they believe ICE agents are staying at and will create a lot of noise with instruments and pots and pans as a form of protest. We've seen large gatherings expected at parks, marches across the city. The focus always being that things need to remain peaceful, because I want to highlight people here are aware of the political environment we're in. When we talk to them, they recognize that if things get too violent, if things escalate, there is a likelihood that there could be an additional surge of federal personnel. And if there's one consistent message we have heard since we've been here, it's that that's the last thing both residents, protesters, citizens want to see, even more ICE agents descending on this city. So again, a big focus of the programming we expect to see this weekend are that things remain peaceful. I also will add, we have heard that there is a potential counter protest that may be happening on Saturday, and that has worried some people we've spoken to, that could be used as an opportunity to try to incite and inflame tensions that are already high here. we certainly will be watching out for that counter protest on Saturday and see if at least law enforcement are able to make sure things remain peaceful.
MS Now reporter Nambi Igwandu on the ground for us again this morning from Minneapolis. Nambi, thanks so much. We really appreciate it. John, I want to go back to a story we talked about there at the top of the show, which is this idea that the president is entertaining, at least, or suggesting he may use the Insurrection Act of 1792, which effectively allows the president to deploy military troops for use against U.S. citizens inside the country, not defense of the country externally, but inside the country. We've learned over this last decade or so that sometimes it's bluster, but also sometimes it's not. He's shown a willingness to use the National Guard in the streets of major American cities. Obviously, these ICE agents dressed as though they're in the military and behaving in some ways like an outside force outside the police as well. So how seriously should people be taking this idea that he could deploy the military?
They should take it seriously. Now, President Trump has threatened to do this before, and he's never followed through. You make a good point. His deployment of the National Guard earlier this year to Los Angeles, Chicago, other cities, that was not the Insurrection Act. That was different. He has yet to invoke it. The last time he threatened it significantly was in 2020. That was, of course, during the pandemic and the George Floyd protests after his murder at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. He wanted to do it, but was talked out of it by his defense secretary and others. I am told why the White House is considering it now. White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt defended his right to do it at her briefing yesterday, but the president has not decided if he will. It hasn't been invoked 30 times in our nation's history. George Washington did it once, but it is rare.
Liberals are normalizing they're normalizing it. They're normalizing it because they can't help but repeat Trump's talking points. They can't help but repeat Trump's talking points.
It's usually brief. This would be seen as a market escalation, Willie, if he were to do this in the days ahead and flood an American city with active duty military troops beyond just the Guard. That would, be, I think, triggering for a lot of people. Democrats have warned that that's exactly what he would want to do, either now or perhaps in the run-up to the midterms, to try to intimidate voters. So it's certainly a significant issue. And if he does do it, there'll be legal challenges, to be sure. And we'll hear a lot of howls or protests from both Democrats in Washington and local leaders.
And in a situation that calls for de-escalation, the president escalating or threatening to escalate at every turn here.
Mike, Daily Show did Zoran coverage and it was really good. This is how the media is helping to normalize socialist governance. Oh, right? Matt Crispin clip? Okay, we can watch this.
Nothing. So just keep talking about...
I mean, they have nothing in terms of an argument or a coherent worldview or a useful praxis, but what they do have is they are speaking on behalf of a hegemonic liberalism that is going to get us all fucking killed.
It's got a lot of money.
I agree, don't talk to them, but because they're distraction from the real fucking problem, which is that fascism arises because of the collapse, institutional legitimacy of liberal institutions. And that's how we got fucking Trump. It's how we're going to get what's coming next after him. That's going to be even worse. Because if you think there's not going to be more ecological and economic catastrophes in the future that liberalism is wholly unsuited to fucking deal with, and that failure is not going to lead to fascism filling that fucking hole, you got another thing coming. And that's what these guys are. These guys who marched in Charlottesville, these are the people who are aware of the unspoken premise of this sort of zombie neoliberalism we're living in, which is that we're coming at a point where there's going to be ecological catastrophe, and it's going to either require mass redistribution of the ill-gotten gains of the first world or genocide. And these are the first people who have basically said, well, if that's the choice, I choose genocide. And they're getting everybody else ready intellectually and emotionally for why that's going to be okay when it happens. Why?
By the way, this is a perfect, I mean, they predicted Gaza. This is 8 years ago. This is Matt Crispin predicting Gaza. Matt was, honestly, of all of the commentators that I respect, losing Michael Brooks and losing Matt Crispin has made the online left significantly dumber, and it pisses me off every day, and it sucks. I mean, Matt is still around, but he's still recovering. He doesn't have his same verbal celerity that he used to have, but he's, so his output has gone down quite a bit, which is a bummer.
They're not really people.
What happened to him? Matt had a stroke. I'm a huge Matt fan.
We're putting all of this money into more fucking walls and drones and bombs and guns to keep them away, and so that we can watch them die with clear consciences. It's going to be because we've been loaded with the ideology that these guys are now starting to express publicly. On the other side of them, you have people who are saying in full fucking voice, no, we have the resources to save everybody, to give everybody a fucking decent and worthwhile existence.
Oh,
and
yeah, that sounds
that
pretty
is
cool.
what we want. And that is the
Seattle
fucking
surf. Hell
real
yeah.
difference between these two. So you can tell that to the next asshole who tells you that they're actually two sides of the same coin.
Oh, by the way, chat, update. Apparently, LSF has removed Destiny's mod from controlling LSF. And all of it, apparently Reddit has removed Destiny's mod from controlling LSF. So if you were banned on LSF, you should probably try to appeal for an unban. He apparently made a video.
Hello, Spaz.
Oh my God! This is why, if you ever wanted to know why is LSF nonstop anti-Hassan propaganda harassment videos, this used to be the head mod of LSF.
Hello, Spaz, Mr. CEO of Reddit. I hope you have received this public video that I have created and sent to you via your email. If not, I hope anybody who cares about the topic in this video can get this to him in any way that you can.
This is what Destiny's community looks like. This is what Destiny's community is represented by. These are the people that harass Hassan, and to a lesser extent me. Holy shit. The Reddit will be hearing about this. Oh my God, this is the most embarrassing shit I've ever seen. Yeah, buddy, I'm sure Reddit will be reaching out soon. How does Destiny manage to find the most pathetic people to be his orbiters? Because only dumb fuck subhumans like Destiny, because he's dumb and uneducated. He's a fucking dropout who doesn't know anything, and he's so consistently wrong. The only people that end up staying with Destiny are people that enjoy a sadist, fucking sex offender. Those are the only people that stay. If you have any kind of mental acuity or ability to discern or recall what he says versus what actually happens, you realize he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And he's a moron. So yes, the only people that remain Destiny orbiters are people like this. You are single-handedly destroying LSF. Everyone is glad you're gone. I mean, LSF is dead. And it sucks now. LSF should ban politics. This is what they should do to fix LSF. Remove everybody that this fucking moron ever put in place. Ban politics. Ban Destiny because he's not on Twitch. Get him the fuck off the platform. Ban politics. And let good vibes shit hit again. This is so embarrassing. Oh my God. Wow, I would have never have guessed you're a Reddit mod. Reddit mod! You could still delete this. Holy shit, this is gold. This was the guy modding LSF. He cooed the previous mod team and drove LSF into the dirt. It's true, LSF used to be one of the most important Reddits for streaming. Now no one cares. They turned it into a bot Hassan disinformation subreddit. And now no one cares about it. Oh my God. Holy shit, this is incredible. Another Hassanabi Mike from PA victory.
This video is about a topic of deadly seriousness, and that is a...
Oh my! Imagine the Gestapo is gunning down American citizens on the streets. There's a genocide in Gaza. America's threatening war with Venezuela and Iran. And he thinks him being removed as LSF mod is deadly serious. Holy shit, dude. I can't. We might watch this video some other time, but I just wanted to say, haha, we won again. Can Twitch just turn ads back on for politics? Like, nobody gives a fuck. What is Dan Saltzman gonna do? He's gonna bot email again. My name is Dan Saltzman, and I have defeated Hassan. Hassan's views have not gone down, and he's the 6th largest streamer on Twitch. But I have won the battle, guys. Destiny, by the way, you want to see something really funny? Hold on. Speaking of, holy shit, dude. This channel, this subreddit is dead. Look at Destiny subreddit. 4 upvotes, 7 upvotes, 10 upvotes, 8, 18, 5, 7, 1. The top ones are quoting Crystal Ball, who they would have called a moron. This is their top posts. Destiny making a pedophile joke. Destiny joking about Trump raping a child is their top upvoted post. What a surprise. Pedophile rape joke is their top joke. Status quo. So all their top votes are leftists who hate them and disagree with them on everything. Destiny being a pedophile, making a pedophile joke, excuse me. Nothing about their mod losing his job. If Destiny doesn't cover the Turkey Tom drama on stream today, we need to riot. Tom and all the other drama slop tubers basically crucified Destiny the microsecond the Pixie drama dropped over what we've all come to learn was basically a nothing burger started over a jilted freak who couldn't take rejection, Lauren. If Destiny doesn't cover Tom, they're calling a nothing burger him knowingly releasing revenge porn and secretly recording people having sex. They have now psyoped themselves into thinking that is this is the deadest of dead channels and communities. Oh man, Turkey Tom, he was like a right-wing grifter, right? That Destiny was hanging out with a lot. Damn. All right. Well, chat, it is Friday. And you know what that means? It means movie night. This week on movie night, we will be watching every Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. We get together and we watch a movie. This week, we're watching Begonia.
Good morning, Corey. Good morning, Michelle. I believe every company should strive to form a diverse table, to empower people of different skills and every time, what is it? Skills and identities. To foster a new generation of, okay, let's go again.
They want you to think it's you, that it's you who made this world. But it's always been them.
But they did, which is, I don't know why people don't know anything about the Nazis. I really, it fascinates me how you're not fascinated. It always fascinates me how people are not fascinated. How are you never morbidly curious about the Nazis? How come nobody knows anything about history? It fucking along. The sexlessness of the right, the sterility of having these of the right is truly breathtaking. He's fucking me. I would do the same thing. We wash our before bidet in your life, and then there's the after bidet in your life. And once you have graduated to the bidet, you never return to the pre-bidet. You go, oh, when I take a shit, I should wash my asshole. Why didn't I think so anymore? Because there's a bunch of Gen Xers and elder millennials that are suffering from the affliction known as nostalgia, where they remember a time when they were 22 years old watching Jon Stewart rail against Bush. And so whenever he gets on the screen, their brain turns off and they see the little flashing lights and they get the dopamine. Okay. The fact that it sucks doesn't. What a week, chat. What a fucking week it's been. What a fucking week it has been. So I looked up Lauren Ingram. Apparently she has adopted children and she was Baptist and she converted to Roman Catholicism and she studied Spanish and Russian. She is a single parent of 3 children. A girl, Maria, from Guatemala, Michael Dimitri from Russia, and Nikolai Peter adopted from Russia. She's out there like cursing out single mothers every night as one. God, she's so fucking weird, dude. Chat, I want to buy this.
Dollars gets you in China.
I want to buy that. All right. All right. What else did I want to talk about today? We made fun of everybody I wanted to talk about. I don't know. I don't really have anything else. I mean, I guess I could talk about other shit, but that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. Your mom. Your mom is pretty. Your mom is pretty. That is true. At least for me. Oh, the Good Liars.
So now a bunch of ICE agents are coming out with pepper balls and spray. I'm not sure why. They just decided they wanted to come escalate the situation here. This is the head of ICE here. All these cowards throwing people down. They just did this for no reason. They came out here and escalated the situation. And now they're going back in. outside the Whipple Federal Building again. As you can see, there's a much bigger crowd here. People are yelling at the ICE agents as they get out. Still wearing masks, it looks like. No surprise there. Oh, watch out, DeVrom. You got a guy coming behind you. Car almost hit you, DeVrom, just so you know. ICE car almost hit you right there.
Behind us, we have a row of ICE agents. Also, ICE agents driving in, all wearing masks, and trying to think of a time in history where a masked police force were the good guys and just coming up.
Did you come out before the shooting of Renee Good, or is this the first time you've been out here?
This is to this building? Yeah. This is the first time I've been to this building, yes.
And obviously there's ICE agents coming in and out. Why is it important to show your face here?
Because I want them to know that they need to get out of our neighborhoods and our communities.
Stop terrorizing our community! They had the pepper spray there. They're holding it out. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying they're so ready to pepper spray unarmed protesters.
ICE too lazy for a soldier, too stupid for a cop. What does that mean?
Oh, pretty much what it says. You know, they really didn't make the grade.
Sorry about that. You know the Reddit mod we were watching from earlier? Vio wants to watch the video with you guys. She said she watched it, and it was the funniest fucking video she's ever seen, and she wants to make fun of him. Oh, the VO commentary may be funny. You should watch this informative YouTube video on Chinese Marxism. Trump reacts to Carney in China. All right, we might have to look at that.
Carney is in China. Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you...
Oh, look, a chat full of Karen retards watching a person that wants to kill people that doesn't think like him. At the same time, looking like a fucking creep, dude. Go out and meet a woman and get a life. Ha ha ha. My favorite thing about Asman chatters is Asman literally said he wanted concentration camps of people that protest ICE. Every single thing you said is projection. The roach is watching you now, so they're pouring in. The botter. Man, you know what's so funny is that Asmongold can't even really stand up to Hassan, even though he has all these right-wingers propping him up. Hassan is doing it on his own. Asmongold has to get help from JD Vance and Elon Musk, and he's still too scared to debate Hassan. Or myself. Asmon, we got to debate in person, man. Come on, let's debate in person. It would be fucking awesome. Come on, let's debate in person. Come on. Asmon's mom had 0 fire resistance. Oh, God, that reminds me. In original World of Warcraft vanilla, you could give... I mean, I think in later versions as well, you could give something negative fire resistance. Holy shit. It was a really good strat. You know, like rolling ignites were like the top DPS. I remember when I was raiding Nax in vanilla because I was better than Asmongold, and I raided Nax in vanilla. We had ignites rolling on, you know, patchwork. So it was pretty fucking awesome. Asman is a gray parser? Really? Oh my God. Really? Didn't he have like legendaries and shit? That's insane. When I was playing Season of Discovery, I was like a purple parser and I wasn't even good. What the fuck?
See the deals, Canada and China. I've just signed trade deals between the two partners.
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
Mr. President, Prime Minister Carney is in China. Prime Minister Carney is in China. How do you see the deals, Canada and China? I've just signed trade deals between the two partners.
Well, that's okay. That's what he should be doing. I mean, it's a good thing for him to sign a trade deal. If you can get a deal with China, you should do that.
Mr. President, Prime Minister...
Donald Trump, he's caving to Canada and China as usual. Fuck, that's funny.
For either type, but they want to cosplay, you know? And they're really proud of their uniforms. They really like their uniforms. Nice shoes, you know? Too bad they don't have the training to match, you know?
Do you think that most of them are showing a lack of training here?
They're not prepared for this. Yeah. They're really, the behavior that I've seen, the difference in behavior that I've seen between the cops and ICE is really dramatic. They have very similar weaponry, but they use it very differently. You know, the police use weapons for crowd control. ICE uses it to retaliate. And you can tell the difference. Cops spend 2 years in training. ICE spends 2 months in training.
It says you'd have reported Anne Frank, and the reason for that is I think these people are masked goons who oftentimes have no qualifications to be doing the job that they're doing. They're picking people up off the sidewalks based off their race, based off their accents, and other identification, which is really not evidence of whether they're a U.S. citizen or not. I think that's wrong. I think ICE should leave. I don't think we need over 3,000 ICE agents in Minneapolis. It's quite absurd. And yeah, I think we're all out here just wishing that they'd go away and expressing our First Amendment right.
Explain the sign.
I just think that they're not really following what you should as like a country, or I know a lot of people are religious. I'm not necessarily, but many are, and it's about being kind to one another and treating people like you want to be treated. So I know there's a lot of people out there that are religious, and I question if they really feel like they're following their own doctrine.
So you don't think it's a Christian thing to do, to break down the people's homes and drag them away from their families?
No, and I think a lot of people that believe in this also are Christians, and yet they, exactly like you said, they're taking people from their homes, they're taking people that are legal here or in the process of getting legal, and they're beating people up. They're pepper spraying them for no reason. We got pepper sprayed yesterday because one kid threw a snowball. So, I mean, practice what you preach. Don't pick and choose from the Bible.
Tell me why ICE is unconstitutional.
Well, I think the way it's being deployed here is unconstitutional. I just don't think that we should be taking citizens and people, going door to door and taking people out of their homes. They shouldn't be attacking children at schools, tackling children at Target, and it's the way they're doing it is just completely wrong. And the ICE should be at the border. They should be at the border control. It should not be here in Minnesota. My family were Eisenhower Republicans. Eisenhower would have been probably here standing with us because he was against this kind of thing, using the government in this way, against our own people, against our own people.
So now there's ICE agents coming out with pepper balls.
Someone said to the roach, "You are like a monk who deprives himself of luxury. That's why we trust you." Guys, he doesn't deprive himself of anything. He doesn't have the executive function or the class or the intellect to enjoy things. Like, you know what I mean? He can't take care of himself. He's more mentally disabled than he is, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the best way to understand it. He has senile squalor syndrome, that's not really even his fault. He has a mental illness. He needs help. Like, that's all it is. It's like not taking a shower and not brushing your teeth is not some sort of like grand monk aesthetic. He just doesn't have the mental wherewithal to do it. He can't like make himself brush his teeth or wash his balls or change his sheets or clean his room or throw away his trash. Not because he's making some grand statement. He is not some Greek philosopher living in a wine jug. He hides in his house and occasionally he orders food on the phone. And the Kopi tries to pretend that he wears those activities with pride. Yeah. Like, no, I do this because I want to. Oh, you fucking don't. He wants to be alone and stinky.
So now a bunch of ICE agents are coming out with pepper balls and spray. I'm not sure why. They've just decided they wanted to come escalate the situation here. This is the head of ICE here. All these cowards throwing people down. They just did this for no reason. They came out here and escalated the situation. And now they're going
He's bragging how he doesn't have a cleaning person. Bro, he needs to hire a cleaning person. I mean, honestly, I don't want him to. Like, every day he lives in that house is another day he damages his lungs and his body. When you think about the particulates that are in the air in that house, the rotting mold, the waste from, like cockroaches and rats, he's literally killing himself. And honestly, okay, I'm okay with that. So every day he doesn't clean up, is another day closer to everybody's freedom.
Back in. You're saying they're doing this as like to
they had a film crew
on the phone. You think he has the courage? Yeah, that's true. Picking up the phone, talking to someone on the phone. I don't think he has the courage to do that. You're right. That's why he runs and hides from everyone and hides in his room, the room that his mommy set up for him. That's the thing that's so funny. He's still in the same room his mommy set up for him.
Come out with them, and then I'm not confident, but I thought I saw Bavino come out, and that might have been why to come in.
It's like all propaganda. They're just filming propaganda.
I mean, this part was.
ICE is behind me at the government facility here doing a little shoot. It looks like kind of a student film. They're all dressed up like they're actually a police force or military or something, and they're making a little video, I guess so they have some content or propaganda.
From what I've read, he operates outside the command structure of ICE. He reports only to Kristi Noem and her alleged lover.
So we are here. We have the ICE agents behind us. Some of them are wearing masks. Do you guys have? Sorry, do you guys have your papers?
You should be de-escalated.
He already admitted his lifestyle is destroying his body.
But yeah, let me just do it like this. Give me a second. I don't want to. Okay. Look at this. Look at this. Entire fucking thing's clean. And clean out the entire thing. Clean out everything. Clean out like all the desks.
Oh, is that what he got banned? And then he did his groveling apology to me and Twitch. Remember when I got Asmongold banned and then he came back and he did a groveling apology? You guys remember?
And got the vacuum cleaner. I got everything, right? And so that was it. And so we got the entire thing cleaned up. It took me 3 hours. I'm gonna be honest.
My
legs hurt. My legs hurt. My arms hurt. My back hurts. That's about it. So how many rats found? Surprisingly 0. But yes. And you're no longer Nurgle's chosen. Well, that's not quite, right? And so your blankets. Oh no, I still have all the stuff over there, sure. But like that's because I use it, right? You look fucking tired. New girlfriend? No. No, I was just like, I didn't realize how many rotten burritos were in my room. There's like 5. I had no idea. I thought there'd be like at most 2, right? At most 2 burritos. But no, it's honestly, it's 5, bro, skipping leg day? Listen, guys, I'm not skipping leg day. I'm skipping day. All of them. What do you mean? Like, I get light exercise. I move around, like I did this all in like 2.5, 3 hours, okay?
He gets light exercise. Yeah, dude.
Okay? So I busted my fucking ass doing this shit. So I don't want to hear anything about how I'm lazy or anything else like that. Abso-fucking-lutely not.
Now, chat. Asmongold regularly goes on the Asmongold subreddit. In the past week, he had 11,000 posts. That is dead as fuck.
Do you guys have your papers? It looks like none of these ICE agents have. Do you guys have your papers? Do you guys have your papers? Sir, do you have your papers? It looks like none of these people have their papers. They might be here illegally. We'll report more on this as the day goes on. Some of the.
All right, everybody. I'm going to call it there. Thank you so much for supporting the stream. I'm sending you over to Vio, who's going to do a reaction to the LSF mod getting fired. And holy fuck, is it funny. Holy fuck, is it funny. Chat, read this and be advised. Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the case. Anyway, chat, thank you so much for hanging out with me this week. Thank you for all the support. I appreciate all of you. Make sure that you are here and that you go to the Discord. We're watching the Begonia. Follow me on Twitter. Join the TikTok. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're going to be publishing some more YouTube videos over the course of this weekend. Some bangers. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Solidarity forever, my friends. And say hi to Vio for me. Peace out. And you have a lovely rest of your weekend. I'll see you all tonight on the Discord. All right, everybody, stay safe. Solidarity forever. Thank you for all the support. And of course, free Palestine.